All right. I think we're live. Mic check 1 2 1 2. Mic check 1 2 1 2. If anyone in the chat can hear me, just push 1. All right, thanks for the confirmation. Welcome back to the Black Brain Trust. This is episode 483. Please hit the like button as you come in, share the video if possible, hit that notification bell so you get all the updates from the Black Brain Trust when those posts on the community tab. There'll be a docket in the description beneath the video in a few minutes as I get this all together. Just give me 1 second. All right, there'll be a docket in a few seconds or a few minutes. Just give me a chance and we'll get started.
What up, y'all? Yeah, soundtrack, what's poppin', baby? Woo! Y'all ain't know, I go by the name of Lupe Fiasco, representing that first and 15. Yeah, and this one right here, I dedicate this one right here to all my homies out there grinding. You know what I'm saying? Legally and illegally. You know what I'm talking about? So, check it out. First got it when he was 6, didn't know any tricks. Matter of fact, first time he got on it, he slipped, landed on his hip and busted his lip. For a week he had to talk with a lisp like this. Now we can end the story right here, but shorty didn't quit. It was something in the air. Yeah, he said it was something so appealing. He couldn't fight the feeling, something about it. He knew he couldn't doubt it, couldn't understand it. Branded since the first kick flip he landed. Labeled a misfit, a bandit. His neighbors couldn't stand it, so he was banished to the park. Started in the morning, one stopped after dark. Yeah, when they said it's getting late in here, so I'm sorry, young man, there's no skating here. So we kick, push, kick, push, kick, push, kick, push, coast. And away he rolled, just a rebel to the world with no place to go. And so we kick, push, kick, push, kick, push, kick, push, coast. So come and skate with me, just a rebel looking for a place to be. So let's kick and push and coast. My man got a little older, became a better roller. Yeah, no helmet, hell-bent on killing himself, is what his mama said. But he was feeling himself, got a little more swagger in his style. Met his girlfriend, she was clapping in the crowd. Love is what was happening to him now. He said I would marry you, but I'm engaged to these aerials and varials, and I don't think this board is strong enough to carry two. She said, Val, I weigh 120 pounds. Now, let me make one thing clear. I don't need to ride yours, I got mine right here. So she took him to a spot he didn't know about. Some odd in the apartment parking lot. She said, I don't normally take dates in here. Security came and said, I'm sorry, there's no skating here. And so they kick, push, kick, push, kick, push, kick, push, coast. And the way they roll, just lovers intertwined with no place to go. And so they kick, push, kick, push, kick, push, kick, push, coast. So come and skate with me, just a rebel, looking for a place to be. So let's kick, and push, yeah, and coast. Yeah, swanky. Yeah, before he knew he had a crew. There wasn't no punk, and they spit fire shirts and SB dunks. They would push till they couldn't skate no more. Office building lobbies wasn't safe no more, and it wasn't like they wasn't getting chased no more. Just the freedom was better than breathing, they said. An escape route they used to escape out when things got crazy. They needed to break out. They head to any place with stairs, any good grinds, the world was theirs. And they four wheels would take them there until the cops came and said there's no skating here. And so they kick, push, kick, push, kick, push, kick, push, coast. And the way they roll, just rebels without a cause with no place to go. And so they kick, push, kick, push, kick, push, kick, push, coast. So come roll with me, just a rebel, looking for a place to be. So let's kick, and push, yeah, and coast. Haha, swanky.
All right. Let me get started. Give a shout out to people in the chat. Smooth Vision Media, greetings to you. Maddox, what's going on? Black Scorpion, what's going on? Mike Shinnery, what it do? And Zone, salute to you. And thank you all for joining us, man, today. SysAdmin and Network Admin talk. So we'll get started with the first item on the docket real quick. Some of this stuff is, actually, let me drop the link. If you have not updated your Zoom client, now would be the time to do so because there is an update out. When you click on the link, make sure you raise your hand so that one of us can acknowledge you and advance you to the panel. All right. All right, this one is from CBT Nuggets. 9 Cisco certs retired today. What now? Expand this out. The day is finally here. The Cisco certification program, as we've known it, has changed. It's a lot to take in and keep track of. Just about every level of Cisco certification has been impacted, no more so than the CCNA level. The good news is that Cisco is implementing these changes based on industry and employer demand. They are also streamlining the process to get certified, which should be welcome news for learners. Here's how the changes could affect you. CCENT is no more. One of the major changes is the elimination of the CCENT certification. For many IT pros, the CCENT was the cert they earned when they started with started working with Cisco products, it was a respected entry-level cert everyone was familiar with. For many, the CCNT going away is a shock. Now the CCT, Cisco Certified Technician, is the only entry-level cert, Cisco cert below the CCNA. While it is useful if you want to go into the field support, the CCT is by no means a CCENT replacement. CCT is targeted to service providers and doesn't really dive into the network theory like the CCENT. Going for your CCNT used to be an easy first step. You would be able to apply the CCNT exam to receive credit for one of the two CCNA exams. This created a sort of natural progression for those starting their Cisco journey today. This may seem disappointing. Having a stepping stone to the CCNA seems like a good idea. However, when you consider how and why Cisco revamped their CERT programs, it begins to make sense. The new CCNA provides foundational knowledge for modern environments and consists of only one exam. As a result, there is less of a need for a CERT like the CCENT. Okay, that makes sense. Before it was broken apart, and a lot of people benefited from the breaking apart of it. The biggest announcement that came from Cisco in 2018 was the changes planned for the CCNA program. Cisco listened to what employers were looking for in a CCNA professional. They took this feedback and made changes to their CCNA paths to make them less complex and more accessible. The result is a set of certifications that match industry expectations at the associate level. The new CCNA avoids over-specialization early on. The idea is you don't have to waste time and energy learning specialized skills at this stage. Previously, the CCNA had a lot of paths you could take. The 10 CCNAs from the pre-February 2020 certification program were CCNA Cloud, CCNA Collaboration, CCNA Data Center, CCNA Industrial, CCNA Route and Switching, CCNA Security, CCNA Service Provider, CCNA Wireless, CCDA, CCNA Cyber Ops, retiring in May 2020. These options let you move on to more advanced certs in those similar directions like the CCNP and eventually like the CCIE. However, there was a problem with the structure. Employers were not likely to put people into these specialty roles at the associate level, at least not right away. What they are actually looking for is someone who has a good understanding of the basics, a good foundation, something that can be used in any direction that fits the needs of the company at the time. Career focus should come later with more experience. For these reasons, 9 of the CCNA of the old CCNA paths will be retired and replaced by a single CCNA cert. The new CCNA will cover a wide range of topics in networking and security. There will be a stronger focus on validating associate level skills. Dropping the specializations also enable Cisco to streamline the exam process. The new CCNA will only require one exam, the 200-301 CCNA exam. This cert is more relevant to the needs of the industry. It also makes the Cisco certification path much easier to follow. A note about the CCNA Cyber Ops. Thus far, this section has addressed 9 of the 10 CCNA certifications. The notable standout in 10th certification is CCNA Cyber Ops certification, which went entirely untouched by the 2020 certpocalypse. However, Cisco recently announced that the 2 exams required for this exam, 210-250 and 210-255, will retire on May 29, 2020. These 2 exams will be replaced by the 200-201 CB Cyber Ops or CBR Ops exam, and the certification will also be called Cisco Certified Cyber Ops Associate. There are not as many certifications at the Cisco's professional level, but there's still plenty to talk about. Unlike the CCNA, at this level, you're expected to begin to specialize. Previously, CCNP offered the following certifications: CCNP Routing and Switching, CCNP Collaboration, CCNP Wireless, CCNP Data Center, CCNP Service Provider, CCDP. Beginning February 24, 2020, the CCNP offerings are CCNP Enterprise, CCNP Data Center, CCNP Security, CCNP Service Provider, CCNP Collaboration, CCIE, DP, Cisco Certified DevNet Professional. Under the new CCO program, CCNP routing and switching, CCNP wireless, and CCDP all fall under the CCNP Enterprise Cert. Also, you'll need to prepare for 2 exams, a core exam and a focus. No matter what path you choose, you must take the core exam, 300-401, and one of the following specialist exams: advanced routing and switching, SD-WAN networks, designing wireless networks, implementing wireless networks, automating and programming. If you're interested in learning more about the CCNP, to finish off the changes Cisco cert lineup, we have the CCIE. It's no secret that this cert is difficult. In fact, it was #1 on our list of 10 most difficult IT certifications. Of course, there is an upside to a cert being difficult. It requires a lot of knowledge and time investment, making it very valuable for those who hold one. Much like the CCNP, the changes to the CCIE were less drastic than the CCNA. However, they do fix several potential issues. Here's a list of previous CCIE certs: CCIE routing and switching, CCIE wireless, CCIE service provider, CCIE security, CCIE data center, CCIE collaboration. So the new CCIE program shares the same core exam as the CCNP. However, you'll be required to take an 8-hour laptop of the lab on top of the core exam. Because how difficult the CCIE is, you'll probably want to go for your CCNP first. However, if you're a network guru, you could go straight for CCIE. That's really, really bold. That's really bold. You have to really, really want to be in that position. I don't think that's a cheap exam either. I think that's a few $1,000 bucks, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, the CCIE, I think before it was 2,500. I don't know where it is now, but it's an expensive test. It's a vicious exam. You really have to be dedicated to it. You walk in there half-assed, it'll kick your butt up around your ears without thinking about it. Smart people have bombed out on that because they haven't really prepped right for it. It's designed to tear you out the frame. It's not designed to pass you. It's designed to try to flunk your ass out of there quick. So you have to really be on top of your game. And people who get that CCIE basically are walking around with a long cape on and a big S on their chest. And that's the reality. And when I talk about a cape, I ain't talking about no simp cape. I'm talking about that Superman joint. Mm-hmm. So you are definitely demand there, and it makes and the CCIEs, you minimum your 6 figures. You have some people, depending on how big your networks you're playing with and where you are and how well you're ensconced to the game, it could get into the 7 figures as well, believe it or not. This is exceedingly butter-laid thing to have, very difficult. And I've seen people do this, try to hit this 2 or 3 times, and it really do them damage to where it mentally messed these guys up. And some of them haven't stepped back to it because it's that live. Do I think it's that impossible to do? No, but I just think you have to be very dedicated towards making this thing work for you. Go ahead, Mike. I'm sorry.
No, I'm in agreement with you. I think that's the old exam, but I think the new exam is supposed to be a lot more straightforward, according to this. So
I still think it's very hard.
It is hard. But the thing is, you're not going to come out of, flipping burgers and then go for your CCIE. That's not how it works.
No.
You know that. But the point that I'm making here is that the way they structured it is allowing people to skip the CCNP and go straight to CCIE, which is actually a very bold move. Before, you would have had to take the CCNP first.
That's true, Mike.
But what's happening here, I think, is that the industry wants more experts, and there's not in the path to get to an expert is so difficult. It kind of turns a lot of people off, and so you don't have a broad demographic that the industry wants, right? They want an expert. If you look at a lot of like network engineer, network architect sort of positions, the responsibilities inside those JDs, those job descriptions says that must have this, must know this, must know that. That's an expert. That's a CCIE. Well, a person might be able to do that work, but how do they prove it, right? If they haven't had a whole lot of experience, if they've been labbing all day and things like that, they haven't been able to get a job for whatever reason. The path to CCIE now allows them to get that. And so the CCIE is the least achieved certification because it's so difficult to get. Now, you know, you can get that certification. I mean, I think they want to broaden out the, the top of the line certification that they do offer. So what I'm saying here is that this is actually a good move on Cisco's part. I don't think they're doing this for money. I think, you know, because Cisco's $1 billion company, they don't need a few more people getting certified, you know, paid a couple $1,000 for certification in order to boost their revenue. I think what they're looking at is we need more experts in the field. We have a bunch of associates. You can't have everybody with a CCNA and then not a whole lot of guys with CCIEs because the path was so difficult to get to.
I agree. I think, you know, because you have a lot of CCNAs who really have the abilities of CCIEs, but they just don't have the certification on it. So they definitely want industry experts, more industry experts out there, broader, and they're trying to make it maybe a little bit more palatable, a little easier to kind of get there, a little bit easier, but not a lot. I have to totally agree with you on that. Though, you know, if you do look at what, you know, one of these CCIEs do in the whole router game and how this whole game is played, there's a lot of very complex problems that can happen with this stuff. Mm-hmm. So you do have to be very knowledgeable. You can't be half-assed. But I would say somebody who was just working on routers and that's all they were doing, and they were at home and they had a Cisco router and they were you know, for whatever reason they could play on it and get involved with it and work with it a lot and talk with other people who are knowledgeable and pick up a lot of information and so forth. And they was some whiz kid or some, you know, I don't know so much a whiz kid, but somebody who's got a tremendous amount of interest in it. Could they pass this exam? They might be able to do so. Like I said, I saw a guy who had Unix boxes in his house. He's CTO now, but he had Unix boxes in his house that his parents bought for him. And you know, this guy was a brilliant individual with it and was able to solve problems that certified Unix people were not able to really to really solve. So you know, I can definitely see why they're doing this. Get more experts out there with that certification in the field, and if that's their view on what they're trying to do, and that's what they're trying to achieve, I would agree with that. Because originally, and I mean back in the early 2000s and so forth, you know, that CCIE and coming up through that, a lot of people were just, you know, almost intimidated by it because it was just too hard. I mean, I knew smart people who got lumped up trying to take that, trying to get through that certification, and they didn't get it. And it left some of these guys with mental problems. I ain't gonna lie, man. It was like, oh, no, these guys were just damaged after the experience. Mm-hmm. So yeah. So if that's what they're doing, I think it's smart to do. But it's still a tough cert to get.
Yeah. I think you know, this is actually a good time for guys getting into IT because it was difficult before to get into a network admin role. Now they've simplified all this. I'm mad that they got rid of the CCENT, but I get why they had to do it. Now, I think, this is just me personally, I know people are going to ask this question, is it worth it to get the CompTIA Network Plus? Depends. If you are coming from help desk, if you're trying to go to a help desk role, the Network Plus makes more sense than getting your CCNA because people who are in the help desk role aren't touching Cisco equipment at all. So having a CCNA, but you just answer phones and triage tickets doesn't make a whole lot of sense. Getting your Network Plus in that role, from my experience of working in networking, the Network Plus makes up 1/3, if not 40% of what's going to be on that CCNA exam. And so I would say, yeah, if you're in the help desk role, get the Network Plus. You're doing desktop support, get the Network Plus. The Network Plus is a primer to the CCNA.
You're hitting it right on the freaking head. It's exactly right.
Yeah.
And that's exactly the path that you want to take. What Mike just laid out is dead on the money. Because, you know, playing that triage role and just, you know, escalating calls is not going to get your hands on stuff that A+ and so forth will. He's dead on that. You're looking at that. That's exactly the path that you want to take. I just want to say that because there's actually no debate in this. And to Mike saying, no debate. That's exactly where you have to go.
Yeah. Before, you used to be able to see, Cisco used to have it set up years ago. This was like 10 or 15 years ago. You used to be able to get the Network Plus as a precursor to CCNA. Then they came up with the CCENT, and that got rid of the Network Plus requirement or additional certification. Now the Network Plus is like at the very beginning. It's a primer to the CCNA now, because a lot of what the Network Plus goes over is the fundamentals of network routing and switching. And I think they just updated the Network Plus back in 2018. So it does reflect a lot of what goes on in Cisco and Juniper environments. Don't forget about Juniper. Juniper, not a lot of traction in the United States, but it's a European-based product, similar to Cisco products. And so you do see Juniper and big service providers like AT&T, T-Mobile and whatnot. They do still use that, and especially your telecoms. They use Juniper a lot. Even your cable providers, they use Juniper. Comcast and RCN, they use Juniper. So I wouldn't discount the Network Plus, because it still has a lot of fundamental ideas that can actually be transferable into a network admin role or a junior network admin role. Let me pull up a junior network admin role, because I think I have one right now. Let me see if I can pull that up. Oh man, I don't have it right here. I must have deleted it. Let me go on Indeed, see if I can find it. All right, here it is. Let's share my screen real quick. All right, so here's a recent posting by the Sam Adams beer company here in Boston. They are looking for a junior admin. And so here's what they're looking for. We are currently hiring for a junior system administrator. Under the general supervision, the junior system administrator is responsible for providing support to end users in day-to-day operations and maintenance of the Boston beer services and infrastructure systems. Junior systems administrator will work independently and as part of a team to answer service desk calls, urgently analyze technical issues, troubleshoot over the phone, on site, via remote access, and escalate issues when appropriate. The role requires technical and business aptitude, as well as excellent verbal, written communication skills and attention to detail. So here are the responsibilities: manage employee onboarding. So there's a lot of admin work here. Manage system and backup and restores. So that's all about DR, disaster recovery. Partner with other teams to address documentation and workflow needs, more admin work. Prepare documentation for IT functions as needed. Manage user administration and ensure environment security and stability. Troubleshoot hardware or software problems, takes appropriate corrective action. partners with other IT teams for support, assist in IT infrastructure projects, and assist with day-to-day operations of help desk, providing tier 1 and tier 2 team support for complex enterprise infrastructure, proactively manage and maintain core Windows and VMware systems, establish OS build standards, monitor and resolve service issues with published SLA, so service level agreements, participates in site setup, user training, hardware and software installation, maintenance and support of documentation of hardware, software logs, and operating procedures, develops new system and application implementation plans, custom scripts, and testing procedures to ensure operational reliability. As directed by the manager, conduct reviews and technical inspections to identify and mitigate potential security weaknesses and ensure that all security features applied to a system are implemented and functional. So desired experience, knowledge of TCP IP networks, Microsoft and Cisco coursework and or certifications. You see, this is key. This is desired. This is what they're talking about. People will come here and say, oh, you know, certifications don't matter. This is a recent job description by a beer company saying, yeah, we want guys with Microsoft and Cisco coursework and certifications. You think not having the certification is going to get you in? No, the guy who has the certification is going to get the role before you do. Scripting and task automation, PowerShell, Veeam backup, Avaya telephony. So Avaya is the competitor to Cisco phone systems. It's a very widely used platform. Microsoft System Center, so MCCM, MCCS, MCCM. Into MDM, so mobile device manager. So yeah, it's a bigger company, right? And it's easy to dismiss it, but this is where guys get started at. This is where people get started at. I don't know if Nagona may have some objection to some of the descriptions in here, but from a recruiter standpoint, but
no, not at all. Just sat here and looked at it. Not at all. I wouldn't object to any of that. That's where guys get started. You're hitting it right on the head. So no, I have nothing untoward whatsoever to say about what you're talking about right now. Mm-hmm. Right on the money.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So there, you know, it doesn't. I mean, obviously, they're probably not going to post what kind of stuff they're using in terms to determine what their environment looks like. But yeah, a network plus in this role makes a lot of sense to me. A plus in this role makes a lot of sense to me. Certifications still matter. I don't care what anybody says out there. You can say what you want, but certifications still matter. Job posting right here talks about it. So this is a junior admin role. I think that the move by Cisco is actually a one for the good, probably one that was necessary 10 years ago. For whatever reason, they didn't do it. Probably because they got a whole lot of, corporate dollars out of it, forcing people to cert up, through their training. So.
Yeah, but certs play a role. An A+ is very important to get. You definitely, you might not need to get certifications also in some of these other programming languages, but you should be going through programs that are going to give you certain levels of certifications, because people will look at that and say at least you've got a fundamental base in what they're dealing with. These are the things that you should have, and people should be working on that. I got a young man right now who I'm kind of working with, and want to make sure that he gets, he's putting his time in on a weekly basis to make sure that by the end of a certain period, we've already got the period of locked out when he should be getting that certification. So we definitely want to get there. I recruit for positions right now. Most of them are senior, really highly senior roles, because that's kind of what's needed. What I want to say to you guys is this: from my position, And believe me, I've got a very strong look on this game from a staffing perspective and putting people in certain types of roles. The senior level, high end kind of senior level roles right now, there's a lot of demand for them. There's not enough people there. There's, as far as real people who help to drive technology, really help to direct it, and really understand how these systems integrate and work. There's a shortage of these types of people. There's a shortage. It's wide open for many of us. So as you develop, just like Mike hit it right in the head, coming from the A+ and moving straight up the line, dead on it. As you move into more senior roles, there's a lot more. It actually becomes even that much more open. There's a lot more opportunity. And that's why we are really stressing this, because just the dearth of folks that are there right now. And that's not, we're not closing the gap in that. And that's, if we can get a lot of young Black men to get into IT now and really start working on it 10 years down the line, your opportunities are going to be that much greater. Just want to continue to reiterate that point, because that's very important. And as Mike is reading off these junior level roles, this is how you move up to the senior level and then take, leadership roles in this area where you're in large distributed computing areas, and you're holding a lot of, and you've got a lot of juice. You're moving a lot of stuff around. And yes, is there racism? And I always like to address this. Is there racism that's going to be involved? Yes. Is there some aspects of white supremacy that we want to talk about? Yes, that's there. Okay. Is that going to stop you? No, it isn't.
Better not.
Hey, I just wanted to say thanks, guys, for letting me up here real quick. Yeah, thanks very much, and I appreciate this subject, because I'm a principal level engineer. So what you guys are talking about is like right up my alley. So
okay, what we're saying is it right up your alley? Are we on the money?
Oh yeah, right on the money. I actually broadcasted. I have quite a few broadcasts teaching. Well, not teaching, but kind of informing young people on how to get jobs in IT, from getting certified up to what you guys are talking about now with the actual, reading off of job roles and what they require. So yeah, the certifications, I would argue, are more than just important. You don't even need a degree if you get a certification, because it shows competency in what you're actually going to be working on, and that's pretty much all employers care about. And then the job description that I think Mike was reading off, you can tell what a company is using by what they say they desire. Like as soon as they said they desire Cisco, they're probably a Cisco shop. They probably have Cisco routers and switches and maybe the phone system even.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we don't. They say Cisco, but we don't know what model of routing and switching that they're using, right? So from a cyber security standpoint, I would need to probe into their environment to actually get all of that information.
Oh, gotcha. So like how old the routers are, like what kind?
Yeah, what's vulnerable, right? So they're very specific about that. So I understand why they're doing that. So that was the reason why I was bringing that up. But it's good to have you on here, because it kind of confirms what I've been what we've been talking about for a while now. That I think for Black males, man, going into this, you'll be crazy not to have a certification under your belt.
Absolutely, absolutely, and we've been really on top of that and been speaking about that a lot. And we keep driving that point home, literally like a broken record, because it's very important that people understand that. One of the things too, like I have recs. I don't want to come and just drop senior, because I dropped a couple of senior level recs on this show before. Now people started coming, well, am I prepared to do this? Am I prepared to do that? These guys didn't have any experience, and they think you can jump right into this game and immediately hit. I don't want the wrong idea to come across, or people to jump with the wrong idea, because I don't believe we're putting across the wrong idea, but people might want to jump to certain conclusions because we're saying it's wide open like that. Yes, it is. Is it going to require a certain level of work, a certain level of preparation, and what's the intrinsic time factor that's involved in this that you cannot eliminate? There's a certain level of time that it's going to take for you to get. We have a term we'd like to use a lot: butter laid up in here. And how long is it going to take you to get butter laid? All right, it's going to take a couple of years, 36 months or so. We have to be looking at a time period to where you're going to literally get in from a junior level arena, really start to learn, get the various certifications, and come through a kind of a training process to really get more to that senior level. You don't go from junior to senior overnight. Doesn't happen. And you in this engineering role can kind of speak to that as well, as to how long it may be taking you to get to the level you've gotten to. But this is what we want to make sure that we want to keep clear on people, that there is a process to this, and that these certifications play a very big role in you moving across. And great example, you said you may need a college degree to get that, and this is IT. This is one of the few fields where you can get a very nice paying job, literally coming in without having to have a Bachelor of Science or a BA or an MA or anything else like that. You can move up nicely, dealing in this arena without necessarily having that. And that doesn't mean it's going to be easier. It means it's, you're going to have to put some serious study time and work hard to get sharp in your field. But yet, there's a different level of training here that could certainly take you to a fairly high level. And I just don't want people to on that. All right. Anyway, go ahead.
Yeah, we got Meech on the panel. What's going on, Meech?
Hey, how's it going there, fellas?
Chilling, fam.
No.
It's good to see you up on here, man.
Hey, so I wanted to ask this question. So I got my A+ certification. It is since expired. I wasn't able to find employment with it, so I didn't renew it.
Okay.
But I do have this question here, right? So I'm interested in the CCNP. I know it's and from listening to you guys now, it sounds like it's going for the CCNA first is actually going to probably be the smartest route to go instead of trying to go straight for the CCNP. What I'm wondering is this: how feasible is it to do the labs? Do all the coursework first and then do the labs. The reason I'm asking is because I'm a truck driver. I'm typically only back home every 4 to 5 weeks.
Okay.
So I'm not on ground, and of course I don't have a lab in the truck. You get what I mean? So
yeah.
How feasible is it to just do the coursework? 5, 6 weeks of coursework, then do a lab, and then another 5, 6 course weeks, then a lab.
I got the answer to that.
Yeah, go right ahead, brother. Go ahead.
So Cisco is it for Cisco?
Yes, Cisco.
Okay, so they have a application called Viral.
Okay.
And it's a subscription. It's $200. Now you need a laptop, and that's the only thing you need. But you need to fill it up with RAM. So if it comes with 16, double it, because all you're gonna do is create. You can create any router in Cisco's line. Well, you can create any iOS. So basically any router, any switch, any firewall, whatever you need to pass the course. Okay. So that the combination of Cisco Viral, which is just a subscription and it's an online lab, and then the BOSN course material, you'll pass any test. Cisco related, A+ related, Microsoft related, doesn't matter. BOSN has some of the best course material in the world. Actually, I've taken these tests.
Okay,
I've
now
taken these tests dozens of times.
Is this good?
I'm sorry, go ahead.
And now here's a question. Here's a question for that then. Do I need an internet connection for this? I mean, other than downloading it.
Yes, for Viral, yes. You need the internet connection to get authenticated to it. But I mean, if you have like a hotspot or something, it's like a quick authentication, and then once you're in, you're in. The software is locally loaded onto your machine. The internet connection is so whenever you log into Viral, they can authenticate you.
Mm-hmm. Good to go. So that's what I had. Now here's a question for you also. So even though networking is more the route I wanted to go with certifications, what's the outlook as far as changes in the industry and employment related to that, with it between networking and security?
Oh, networking and security is together. So nowadays, especially in my role, I'm not sure, like even for junior roles, the security part is becoming more and more important. So, but the thing is that the devices are becoming more security focused. So the routers and switches and firewalls all have security features right out the gate, like IPS, DDoS protection. They can filter traffic on the fly, like watch traffic on the fly, like whatever's coming through, it knows. There's like virus protection on the wire, but a lot of companies, they have like subscriptions for that.
Okay.
So most of the devices already have this stuff built in, But as far as security practices, you have to know how to implement security, and that's the part that's most important. They have a cert for that also, which is like the cert I call a Grand Master. It's a CISSP. If you get that certification, you can pretty much go anywhere you want. Yeah, it's not a Cisco cert. I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just going to jump in and actually say, you're right on the money with that, with the exception of the CCISP. You don't really have to worry about security because that's the job of the CISO from a top-down level. So you're going for CCNA, and you're trying to get to the CCNP. Your role is going to be segmented anyways. It's going to be segregated from that aspect. So somebody's already going to be taking care of security, so you don't have to worry about that. What they're worried about is can you manage a network?
Okay.
Right.
Now,
yeah, that's exactly right.
My last question for you guys, then, and I'll fall off. What's the is it? I mean, of course, you're going to need experience, of course, but going from CCNP to CCIE, how feasible is that?
You don't need the CCNP anymore. That's what we were just saying. You go straight to CCIE now.
Oh, you go from CCNA to CCIE? You're gonna need a lot of experience for that, though, aren't you?
Oh man, that's a lot of labbing, man.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, the CCIE is probably one of the most difficult tests ever. There's two parts. There's a written part, and then you're gonna have to. I don't know if you still have to fly out to Cisco for the lab part, but the lab part is probably the hardest lab in the world. They basically break networks on purpose and then see if you can find it in the most efficient way.
Oh.
You got 8 hours to do it. So 8 hours in.
8 holes. Okay, then. Well, good to go. I'm going to use it. Microsoft Viral, you said, right?
No. It's Cisco Viral. It's $200. Yeah, it's $200 for the entire year. But again, once you load it up, you get access to all of their stuff. So what you want to do is get a laptop with more than one network adapter. Right. At least two. If it doesn't have more than one, then you can just buy a USB network adapter. It doesn't matter. You can get a couple USB network adapters. But because what you want to do is each router, switch, firewall is a VM. You want to put those VMs on the network adapter that's not your main one, because you want to use that to use the internet and stuff.
Yeah, I want to
and get RAM, lots of RAM, lots of RAM.
Yeah, always go to max on RAM. Yeah, I want to offer an alternative. Bosun actually has very good software for
yeah, they do.
Yeah, so you don't need a network connection for that because it's a base install. You install it.
Let me write. Could you repeat that again? What was it called? Bosun?
Bosun. BOSON.
Okay, Bosun.
Let me pull it up too. I think someone in the chat might have posted it.
Well, I did earlier.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I've been using Bosun for years. I think it's money well spent. Let me share my screen.
Yeah, they got the best.
That would be called a network simulator.
No, it's right here. It says Bosun Network Simulator. So it's $179 for the CCNA. It's a single-use license, and then it has 107 labs. Basically, the rule of thumb here is this: if you can pass the labs, you can pass the exam.
Good to go. All right then. All right. Well, I'm going to go ahead and drop off.
They have a guarantee. Like if you don't pass, they.
Okay, good to go. All right, well, I'm going to go ahead and drop off here because my connection is getting real bad, but I like what y'all are doing over here, man. Y'all keep up the good work.
Yes, sir. Thank you for stopping through, Meech.
Oh, by the way, I just wanted to say, I didn't even know that there were Black people on the internet doing this, because that's why I started my channel.
Yeah. Yeah, man. I met a few guys, man, who's in IT who used to, they post on LinkedIn more than they do on YouTube. But I think Dewan Lightfoot is probably the most popular brother on YouTube who does, he has a wrench over here too. He's a moderator over here too, who does a lot of this stuff as well. Not as frequently as we do, but when he does it well. So shout out to him. He's really big.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I didn't even know you guys you were even around doing actual, helping these people get jobs and stuff, because as to Nagon's point, there is like a Black deficit of IT engineers. And one of the things I pointed out on my channel, because I get a little bit more spicy over there is that for on the Black side, we tend to be more well-rounded in IT. For instance, my white colleagues, they can like be the type of personalities that walk around and count their fingers while looking at the ground. You know what I mean? And not speak to anyone or blurt out stuff, and they can wear the same outfit for like 3 months in a row and that type of thing. But as a Black person, you cannot do any of that.
Yeah.
Period.
Yeah, you're absolutely right about that. I talked about that before. I have an intern who's from India. He wears the same thing day in, day out, man, but he is constantly labbing. He got his cert, CEH, Network Plus, you know, he's out there, man. He's really doing it big, and he's very young. He's a millennial. He's on the youngest side of the millennial. So I tell brothers all the time, man, you can't make any more excuses when you got somebody like this who's coming from this country, lives in an Airbnb, wears the same thing every day, but comes to work every single day.
Right, and kills it.
Yeah.
Oh, there's another thing that
Zero. I just want to. Could you also elucidate a little bit as to the opportunity, just from what you see from your position, where Black people can kind of come in and really do well? Where yes, there's racism and so forth that exists, but
of course there's complete racism. Even in my position, even if you get senior level, there's still going to be that. But what and that's because there's not a lot of us in here, so it's always assumed like, you know, you're always under scrutiny, and that's why. Because there's so few of us, you're always under scrutiny. Like, does this guy really know? Does this guy, you know, is he really this good? Blah, 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 blah. So, like, you'd have colleagues that they only know one thing and they stick to that one thing. Like, I can code, I can network, I can administrate, I got all the skill sets, but I have colleagues that only have one skill set. One. And it's because they're white. Like, and I wonder how they're able to navigate the IT industry with only one skill set. But it's because, you know, they have an advantage. Yeah. But if you are a Black and you have to learn everything, then that benefits you, because you can go into a company, instant offense. You know, they don't even have to train you. Like, I never have to get trained wherever I go.
Yep. Key points. So still, there's what I'm saying is there's opportunity. Just because there's racism, it's not going to stop you from actually being successful. Am I correct?
Oh, no. When they want to hire you, the racism goes out the window. So if you have enough skills, they're just going to hire you. Yeah. Period.
That's what I found. I found as well. You know, you got to play the game too. You got to code switch a little bit, you know, to put their guards down. But I still go through the racism as well, and I've talked about that many times on here. When you get this sort of defensive, aspect of the mayonnaise man in the workplace, or the mayonnaise woman in the workplace. You read an article about a brother who worked at Facebook. You know, he had a woman in the office clutching her purse while he's in the same hallway as her. You know,
wow.
Like, how does that happen? But that's how pervasive racism is. You know.
Right. And then you have the people trying to get cool with you because they think you're, you know, the Black dude with the edge and whatnot.
Yeah.
But they're like super fake and shit.
Yeah.
So you get it from all directions. It's like, you know, you can get the passive aggressive stuff, you can get the straight up, you know, this guy's scary. You can get the, you know, I'm gonna try and hang around this guy type of deal. Yeah, you get it from all sides.
But what I'm saying is we should not use that as, because I see a lot of guys racism, and they want to use it, and they want to use it as an excuse. And a lot of these conscious Negroes running that.
Yeah,
it's not legitimate, but it's not. You know, it shouldn't stop you in your tracks. And I think that's
exactly. Yeah, and what they need to understand is if more of us get in there, the racism starts to go away. So I mean,
there we go.
It's us to regress, but it doesn't exactly dissipate. It's not going
to disappear.
It would like change the perception if you get enough of. Like, there are a lot of Indian dudes. They write the worst codes in the world. They write the worst code in the world, but they write code that works.
Yeah.
Because over there they learn on DOS. They learn how to like PowerShell with no GUI or with no IDE environment, any of that. Yeah. So they're really good at getting things to work, but their code is the sloppiest you'll ever see in your life, and sometimes it's buggy. But when there's a bunch of Indian dudes in the office, everyone respects them because even though their code is crap, you can fix it, and they're always on the job. So again, if enough of us get in there and prove that we know what we're doing, and we know what we're doing, you know, more so than our colleagues, the perception will change. We just gotta get people in there.
Yes.
Critical point. Thank you.
Yeah, we got Maddox on the panel as well. What's going on, Maddox?
Nothing much, man.
Maddox, what's going on, brother?
Nothing much, dude. I just wanted to say, for those who want to get their CCNA, you can go get Packet Tracer for free.
Yeah.
And set everything up from there. And I want to say his name is David Bowden. He does a couple of labs on YouTube. He's asked most of the teachers for the new CCNA, try to put all the labs on Packet Tracer.
Yeah.
And then for CCNP and CCIE, you're gonna have to look at Viral, GNS3, and even G.
Yep. I found that Boson has worked best for me on a pretty strong laptop. Boson has worked wonders.
I got it I tried to pass a Cisco Apocalypse. I didn't make it. But, I had the last test why I didn't pass. They went ahead and gave me the update for the new one for free.
Oh yeah.
Good company. I totally support that.
Yeah. Yeah. And they also do VMware as well. So
yeah. Now
yeah,
I forgot. I don't know who actually said that they're good for CompTIA and Microsoft. I was thinking about buying some of their stuff for the Microsoft test that they get, since Microsoft at the end of June,
yep,
they're getting rid of all their on-prem certifications. It's just going to be Azure. That's it.
Yeah, yeah, that's what I'm going over right now. So let me knock this out real quick. But thank you for making that mention. All right, this one is from ZDNet.com. Microsoft is retiring its MCSA, MCSD, and MCSE certifications in June of 2020. As part of its move toward role-based training, Microsoft will no longer offer MCSA, MCSD, or MCSE certifications after June 30th. Microsoft is retiring 3 of its most popular professional certification categories as part of a move toward role-based training. It's Microsoft Certified Solutions Associate, Microsoft Certified Solutions Developer, and Microsoft Certified Solutions Expert certifications are going away. Officials said via a blog post on February 28, 2020. Microsoft also has no plans to offer Windows Server 2019 or SQL Server 2019 certifications, officials said. As of June 30th, 2020, all exams from MCSA, MCSA, MCSD, and MCSE will no longer be available. Microsoft is advising those already in the midst of working towards these certifications should work toward passing required exams before that date, as those certifications no longer will be awarded after June 30th. Individuals who passed a qualifying exam prior to its retirement will still be able to count it toward a partner competency requirement for 12 months after the exam has retired. So everything's moving to Azure. We've been talking about this for probably about a year now, and I've been telling people, start studying Azure because everyone is going to be moving to Azure by 2020. That's just the nature of the business. They have to retire those old 2008 servers. Those 2003 servers should have been gone already. You'd be surprised how many environments still run them. 2012 servers, they're going to be coming offline by the end of the year. Everyone's trying to get into Azure because Active Directory in the cloud is the business now. Office 365 is the business now. They're starting to go to a more slim environment and more cloud-based environment, and having these MCSA certifications, MCSE don't make any sense. Like I said, get the Azure certs, get the AZ 900 is what you should be looking for. That's the entry-level Azure cloud certification, and then you move left or right from there. There's different certifications you can get, I think, for like Office 365 and stuff like that. Exchange 2019 or whatever it is, whatever it's supposed to be called now. So study Azure, study cloud. Don't worry about the old certs. All right.
So the MCSE is done, huh?
Yeah, that's pretty much that's been a wrap for about a year now.
Yeah. So people who still get people who still get in church and those who get certified, that Is that going to be looked upon? Do you think that'll be looked upon any differently? I'm not dealing with a lot of MCSC stuff. I mean, you have some senior guys who are in there, but how is that going to be looked upon if you have that certification in hand?
It might make sense for a lot of government, because government still uses a lot of legacy platforms.
Right.
But big companies, you know, Bank of America, you know, JP Morgan, they've already moved on to Azure. They've already moved on. It's one of those things that private sector moves faster than public. So for big city, you know, city governments, you know, LA, Chicago, New York. Well, I probably wouldn't say New York. New York is a little bit more advanced, but places like, you know, Providence, Rhode Island, and, you know, Trenton, New Jersey, they still use a lot of that legacy infrastructure because they just don't have the need to get off as so much immediately. Now they do, though. All these, cyber attacks that's happening, you know, with this ransomware, need to get off of these platforms as soon as possible.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
That's true. That's
to speak to that.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No.
Go ahead.
Piece of it. Because if you have on-premise equipment, you just don't have enough redundancy to recover from an attack like that. Even if you encrypt your data, ransomware encrypts over whatever encryption you have, so it's pointless. You have you just don't have the firepower to fight back against that type of thing. So the reason why everything's moving to cloud is because of the server redundancy. You're basically in a server farm. There's thousands of them. If one piece gets hit, it's like like the human body. You get a paper cut and you grow a scab over it, but you got like all the other skin on your body. It's that way. So a server farm, you have so much redundancy that if something gets hit, it doesn't hit. They just shut that piece down until and wipe it.
It's about high availability. So that's what cloud computing offers, is high availability.
Right.
And whoever's managing the DR scheme, you can have a lot of resiliency if you actually incorporate it correctly. And so some of these cyber ransomware attacks, some of them are false. A lot of them are authentic. When I say false, I mean, there's a prompt on your screen that says, basically all your data belongs to them, and you have to pay this sort of Bitcoin or cryptocurrency or whatever ransom that they want you to pay. But in reality, it's not being encrypted, your data is not being held hostage. It's just a prompt threatening you. And so you don't always want to be so quick to, cough up money out your wallet if you're a corporation, or if you're the government for that matter. You don't want to pay. They advise you not to pay because it incentivizes them to come back around and do it again.
Yeah, I know a company that got hit by that. Mine was a little bit more minutia, just basically explaining how that stuff works, especially in the cloud. There's just more servers, and there's thousands of them, hundreds of thousands of them. So you'll never have to worry about that type of thing. It's the only way to fight it. You can't fight it under conventional means. Yeah,
we haven't had. Well, I shouldn't say we. In my experience, I haven't had to deal with a ransomware attack. We've had some pretty good resiliency in our environments, and any sort of attack that did come in was null and void by the end of the day. We haven't lost any data, so we've been pretty good in that area. But let me jump and move on to this article right here. This one's from CompTIA.org. It's a blog. Work on Cloud 9 with cloud computing certifications. Cloud computing is rapidly becoming the preferred technology of business across the globe, advancing outcomes for employees and industry alike. Among the many benefits of cloud technology are reduced hardware expenses, control over the services you use, enhanced security and disaster relief contingencies, and immediate access to cutting-edge technologies. But it's not just businesses benefiting from the cloud. According to the Global Knowledge 2019 IT Skills and Salary Report, IT cloud professionals are being compensated quite nicely for their cloud computing skills and knowledge. How high? Aside from IT executives, the highest global salaries are in cloud computing, with average yearly compensation coming in at $115,889. That calculates to 29% more than the global average for IT pro salary. If you're looking to become a cloud professional in North America, you're eyeing a potential salary of $138,320 per year. That's probably New York, and earning cloud certifications can increase that to nearly $150,000. The moral of the story is if you know cloud technologies, you're going to get paid. Yeah, I don't disagree with this article at all. Let me just go over the certifications that they're talking about. In North America, cloud computing certifications have 4 of these top 10 highest salaries. Worldwide, cloud certifications occupy even more of the top spots, 7 out of 10. So top paying certifications in North America, GCP Cloud Architect, CISM, so Certified Information Security Manager, Certified Scrum Master, you Scrum ass niggas out here, AWS Certified Solutions Architect Associate, AWS Certified SysOps Administrator Associate, AWS Certified Developer Associate, Project Management Professional, CRISC, Certified Risk Information Security certification, CCEV, and CISSP. That's what Zero Hate was mentioning earlier. Here's my take on these certifications in terms of North America. Google Cloud Architect is in high demand because Google Cloud is a very in-demand platform. I know a lot of companies are using GCP, you know, for their backup and recovery, sort of high availability strategy. Certified Information Security Manager, yeah, that's pretty normal if you're trying to get into a security manager role. CSIM does make a lot of sense. Certified Scrum Master, yeah, that works for DevOps and project management. All AWS certifications make sense if your environment is going to be AWS operational. So cloud computing in that area does make sense. PMP makes sense if you operate off of a project management, you know, structure. The thing is, a lot of your cloud environments are not using project management. They're actually using DevOps and they're using Agile. So keep that in mind. I'll toss that one out in my opinion. Maybe somebody else might disagree. Chris, that's pretty normal from a compliance and regulatory security standard. And then you have CCE and CCISP. See, CISSP is that you know, a mile wide and an inch deep is what they call it. And my thing is that CISSP makes sense at the leadership level, but not at the base level, because a lot of what we do in cybersecurity, the CISSP does not cover it at all. I think there's like maybe one domain out of like the 10 domains that it does that covers the cybersecurity aspect, and we just don't operate that way. You know, cybersecurity moves too fast for the CISSP to be a consideration in that regard. Who's this about to go? All right. So on the worldwide stage, AWS Certified Solutions Architect makes a lot of sense. Everybody wants a, you know, Amazon is ubiquitous in that area. GCP Cloud Architect, another one as well. It started to make a lot of traction in the cloud arena. CISSP, we talked about that. GCP Data Engineer, yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Google Cloud Platform is becoming in demand on different continents. AWS Certified SysOps Administrator, that comes with the territory of if you're going to adopt an AWS platform, you're going to be asked to take responsibility in that area from the SysAdmin standpoint. TOGIF, you don't hear a lot about that in North America because that's more of a, that's more of a European thing. So for those of you who don't know what TOGIF is, it's a information architect certification. So if you can pass that, you're pretty stout in that area. But America doesn't seem to respect it as much. PMP, we talked about that already. Certified AWS certified developer, we talked about that. Anything involved in AWS and GCP, you can't just know cloud. AWS. You got to know AWS, GCP, and Azure. No more just knowing one platform. You got to know all platforms. All right, CompTIA Cloud Plus offers the technical knowledge and security awareness required by today's IT pros, combined with the vendor-specific cloud computing certification, and you're looking at a salary well into the six figures. Yeah, they're true. That's very true. I do have that certification myself, just as an FYI. So I'm not actually toting it, just reading the article. And Cloud Plus did reach 8570.01 on the DoD manual. So it is up there now since the revision at the turn of the year. So all you SysAdmins and your network admins, you're gonna have to learn these platforms. And I say that now is a good time to actually learn them. You don't want to get caught like a deer in the headlights when you come into these like that.
Yeah, I agree with all of that. I mean, I roll out dozens of Office 365 every year. Maybe like 5 or 6 Google transitions a year. Everyone uses Amazon for their backup. So I typically integrate Amazon into like the DR infrastructure.
Yeah, S3 is very much a necessary piece for that.
Yep. I don't know a lot of people that use Google for their backup yet. Actually, I don't know any company I work with that use Google for their backup. But I've had companies actually transition to the Google Suite.
Yep. Yeah. It's really the academic market that's picking up on Google because of how cheap it is, how simple integration it has, plus Chromebooks, right?
Right.
Yeah. So they look at that and they say, oh, we can give our students Chromebooks. We connect them to Google Suite, and then we can use GCP for our backups of student data and stuff like that. That's what they're looking at. Yeah, that's what they're looking at. The going fell off.
What's weird to me is that when Google Suite, their platform is to me, in my opinion, is better than the Office 365 platform. But it just amazes me that companies don't look at it and just pick up on it and then move. Because again, out of the few companies that I have moved to Google, they have had no problems at all. They don't run into issues with like the same issues you run into with Excel, where data sheets don't work sometimes, depending on what type of formulas are in them.
Yep.
So I don't know. Then there's issues between like bringing a sheet from a 32-bit version of Excel to the 64-bit, and then stuff breaks. There's just none of that in the Google side. You can bring a spreadsheet in from the Microsoft side, and it'll be fine.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
Yeah, you're right about that. And I found formatting issues from something as simple as a resume, Google Docs. You try to transition it and you drop it into like Office 365. There's some formatting issues there, but that stuff is usually corrected if you do it. If you update your Office 365 to
right. Well, I mean, I found what I do, I shortcut it. I'll open a new document and then I'll open the old document on the person's computer and just copy paste it, because then I don't have to think about it trying to do automatic. Anyway, that's in the weeds or whatever. But I'm just saying that the Google stuff seems to just work better in my experience.
Yeah, people will be surprised how much these universities, these school budgets are spending on Microsoft Office, man. It's crazy.
Yeah,
it's really, really crazy, man. Especially Macs too. They spend a lot of money on Macs. That stuff ain't cheap. For what you pay for a Mac, they can get about 3 or 4 Google Chromebooks, man, for students. Right. So, I just, one of my barber actually has a son who's in a private school, Catholic school, and they forced him to buy Macs, man. That fucking Mac was like $800, man. You could have bought a Chromebook for like $20 and did the same exact thing. There's nothing unique about the Mac.
Yeah, it's a I forget what they call it. It's like, when people get used to stuff, and it's kind of like it's a perception thing where they think they have to have it,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So because like Macs, I think they're purpose built. The only reason anyone even uses Macs is like graphic departments and stuff like that. But outside of that, we joke about Macs being like the computer you use when you don't need to do real work.
Exactly.
It's a YouTube machine.
Yeah. I know a lot of people type code on it, and they look all sophisticated, but in reality, you can type code on anything at this point.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
I don't know, Christian, what do you guys use in that work?
using it straight up Office, not 365, none of that. Everything that we do is on-prem.
Okay.
And I had another job. I did move them over to Google Suites. They're loving it.
Yeah, it makes sense. Makes a lot of sense. I tell people all the time, getting that GCP, that Google Suite certification could actually work wonders in the next couple of years, because a lot of companies are going to be trying to get off of Microsoft and move to a cheaper platform. All right, let me get to this next article. This one is from certbag.com. IT certifications and changes in the landscape. So we talked about all of this earlier. All the Microsoft certified certifications are going to be going away. So I won't reiterate any of this type of stuff, but I will highlight the new certifications that they did put out there. So CompTIA did update the Cloud Essentials. The A+ was updated last year, January 2019. Network Plus was updated in 2018, like we talked about earlier. And Server Plus will be released in 2020. So the new version, I'd be interested in seeing how that works out. I do have to update my certifications too. So 2020 is a good year for upping your certs. All right, let me jump to the next item on the docket. All right, this is from IDG Insider Pro. IT salary survey, do tech certifications pay off? In our recent survey, we asked IT professionals if certifications help them land a job, earn a promotion, or get a pay raise, and which certifications they are planning to pursue. Let me expand this out. Technology certifications can help you achieve career goals. They show employers you're committed to learning, you take professional development seriously, and you have special skills and knowledge. At least that's the traditional thinking. But when asked about the return on investment of IT-related certifications, respondents to IDG's 2020 IT salary survey were positive, but not overwhelmingly so. The following is a look at how IT professionals regard the value of certifications, along with the certifications that have helped them the most and the least, in which certifications they are planning to pursue in the next 24 months. The findings are from the 2020 IDG Insider Pro and Computer World IT Salary Survey of 2,269 IT professionals, the majority of which 1,889 were full and part-time employees. The online survey was conducted September 24th through December 2nd, 2019. Of the employees who responded, the majority, 44%, hold a bachelor percent degree. I don't know why it says that. While 27% have a master's degree. 70% hold a technical or community college degree. 8% have a high school or equivalent degree. And 2% have a PhD. Yeah, I figure if you have a PhD, you probably don't need a certification. I don't think you really need that at that point. It's kind of a kind of an insult. But it's like what I expected. Bachelors are going to make up the majority. People go to school for computer science, and that's pretty much it. And then you have your master's degree people. They usually go get their MBA. Not uncommon, because a lot of your corporations were paying for master's degrees. Now it's not that way anymore. They actually don't do that anymore. You got to come with a master's degree now. All right, 70% hold a technical or community college degree. Yeah, because the people who go to community college are people who tend to be a part of a lower income demographic, and so they're always going to avoid the four-year institutions if they can, because the community college is readily available to them. IT professionals divided on the value of certifications among the employees Responding to the survey, 59% said they have at least one IT-related certification, and 41% said they don't. Of course, of those with certifications, nearly half, 48%, agreed that certifications help them land a job, promotion, or pay raise, while 39% said certifications have not made a difference. In other words, based on the survey results, IT-related certifications may or may not offer any meaningful reward. So 41% said no, 59% said yes. Certification has
that needs more detail.
your mic is breaking up a lot there, Zero. Yeah, I think your connection might be.
Oh, sorry about that. I was saying.
Shit.
What about now?
You're good now.
Okay, I was saying that report needs more detail because those numbers kind of indicate like there's just some conflation going on there. Like for people that the cert didn't matter for, you know, what were the conditions? You know what I mean? What other qualifications did they have? I mean, you know, you don't need to know the number of people, but there has to be some other conditions which in which the certificate didn't matter, as far as like promotion or raise or actually landing a job.
Yeah, there's a variety of factors. I think race also plays a role in this as well.
Yeah, but I didn't want to say that part. But I'm just saying there's, but you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah. All right. Taking a longer view, 40% of respondents in IDG's 2017 IT salary survey said that certifications had helped them get a job, pay raise, or promotion, compared to the 48% in this year's survey. At the same time, 46% in 2017 said certifications hadn't benefited them, which dropped to 39% this year. See, I think I agree with you, Zero Hate, because let's say you have a person who got their A+ maybe 10 years ago, and now they're applying for, you know, a machine learning job. Yeah, nobody cares about your A+ if you're trying to apply for a machine learning artificial intelligence job, if that's going to be the case. So yeah, your certification may not have helped you there. That makes sense. But like you said, it needs more context and it needs a lot more information, sufficient information to make that point.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, so sometimes, you know, somebody will make a statement like, "Oh, my certification hasn't helped." But what genre job were you applying to? The difference is,
right. Like I've had people who moved into management where their certificate didn't matter anymore.
Yeah, because at that point, you know, who's really judging you? Your C-level people are judging you at that point. And plus, when you're in a management role and you're in a leadership role, you do go to training, you know, once a year or something like that. If you're going to go, you know, you might get offered. Most corporations, you know, and most organizations have training dollars available, and so you take advantage of it. And you might go to a CISSP training because it was local and it was available. Okay, fine. And then you get your CISSP. But that's not to say you got it because you wanted to prove something. You got it because it was available. And you know that, you know, there's nothing wrong with that. But it's not to say that it's going to be the end all be all to your role in advancement. But it's nice to have it though. The differences suggest that IT professionals may now be experiencing slightly more ROI from certifications than they did 3 years ago. In both surveys, 13% said they didn't know if certifications had given them a leg up. The results reflect the conflicting opinions about whether IT certifications are worth it. Oh man, I can't believe $250 just to log into ID. You know, I don't think so. They can keep that. Yeah, it's a good article, but I question the people who take these surveys. Like I said before, there's people out there who, you know, they want to get into like artificial intelligence or machine learning, and they got an A+ certification, and they say, well, that didn't help me get the role. Yeah, because it doesn't apply. You can't make a statement like that and then leave it, you know, open on the table. So we have Dullah on the panel now. What's going on, Dullah?
Oh, not much, man. Not much. Just listening in. Um, I'm not sure of what the overall talking point is, but I do believe that certification is vital for career advancement. Now, it definitely depends on which certification you're going after. There is a tiering. There's definitely a hierarchy when it comes to certifications. And I think it really comes down to what the market dictates. And I think too many people sometimes they go after certifications because they think they like a subject, and they spend a lot of time going after certification, and then they get it, then they wonder why no one is clamoring to hire them because the certification isn't really worth anything. Um, Unfortunately, I think a lot of CompTIA certifications are like that. I mean, outside of their cloud certification and Security Plus, there really isn't too many CompTIA certifications that are worth their weight.
Well, you could have said that 10 years ago, maybe 12 years ago, but now that's not the case. The recent certifications, because I'm a part of their beta development, so I look at these things before they even go to production, because I've pretty much acquired all their certifications in the past. For one, HP, Dell, Lenovo, Supermicro, IBM, they won't let you touch their products from a warranty standpoint, from a service repair standpoint, unless you're certified. Verizon's the same way. They won't let you touch, their cybersecurity environment or their platform unless you actually have a Security Plus, from my understanding last time I dealt with them. So they still regard CompTIA certifications in high regard. Government is the same way. Government, U.S. military still regard CompTIA certification. That's why they're still around. It's because it's still regarded. Because a lot of the content that's on there is still really relevant to doing the job.
Yeah, okay, yeah, that's true. But as far as demand goes, as far as the what exactly are you getting as far as a salary cap from a particular CompTIA certification? It's not much. And I've been out there, and I have my A Plus and Security Plus and Network Plus, and honestly, those certifications really are not big draws when I'm out looking for any future positions.
Yeah, but it depends on what kind of role you're applying to, right? If you're going for a desktop help desk role, an A Plus makes sense. If you're going for a network,
absolutely.
Network Plus makes sense. If you're going for a SecOps position, the Security Plus is going to mean the difference between you getting a call back or not. So
that's true. That definitely is true. That it plays a role in different markets, different positions. Yeah, you're absolutely right. I definitely announce that.
Yeah. So I think the certifications have to be have to correlate to the role that you're trying to apply to. If you have, A Plus, Network Plus, Security Plus, and then you're trying to apply for, let's say, what do you call an AWS role, those certifications don't apply to that, right? So the certifications have to align with the role and responsibilities of the job description. And I think what happens here is that people who have these certifications apply them to non-certified roles, and then they're kind of confused as to, well, the value of the cert. Well, yeah, I'm not, if I'm looking for another security person, I'm going to talk to the guy who has a CEH before I talk to the guy who might have a Network Plus, right? So
yeah, certainly. Well, the thing is for me, like, it's like instead of like a Security Plus, right? If I had to weigh them, I would see someone that had a CCNA security with someone like that. I would say they're a little bit more knowledgeable than someone that just had their security plus. I just look at the value of the certifications a bit different. And it's the same thing goes for like a HP certification. You know what I mean? Like I used to work for Hewlett Packard, and
Well,
I racked up, you know, pretty much all their certifications,
mhm.
and they are worth toilet paper out in the real world. Like it's no one's looking for any of those certifications, you know, compared to, you know, maybe a Juniper or a Cisco certification.
Mhm.
I don't know. Just from job hunting and being out on the market, you know, I definitely see that there is certain demand for you know, certain certifications. Now, I'm not saying, because maybe I do have a different view on it, because you know I'm kind of biased in certain ways, and on top of that, you know, I'm definitely not in the, you know, same job market that someone would be in if they're looking for, you know, a desktop engineering position, or
Mhm.
you know, some kind of support role, you know. So yeah, that is something to consider for sure.
Mhm. Let me get to
But
this
yeah,
next one.
I just think that you know, if someone's entering the market, right, you know, I think they would do themselves a service to you know, go after certifications that are in high demand, as opposed to, you know, going after some type of, you know, entry level cert that no one really is out there looking for.
Yeah, definitely. You know, like I said, I got an intern on me who's an Indian, and you know, he got a brother who came in through a different program, and he doesn't understand why, you know, the Indian guy is moving up so fast from an intern position to a full stack engineer. Doesn't understand that because you didn't cert up. This guy's labbing, he's certing every day, wears the same clothes day in, day out, um, and he's always flexible in you know what is needed from him or what he's capable of doing. Whereas the brother, man, you know, he's supposed to get his network plus. You know, it's been a year now. Why haven't you got your cert yet? Can't really fault, you know, white supremacy or racism or anything like that when you've been here day in, day out, but you haven't really done much. I don't like seeing brothers, you know, point the finger somewhere else when he should have certified up. You know, we should have started up when he had the chance. And you let this Indian guy come into this country, 25, 26, master's degree, computer science, cybersecurity. He's certain up, he's labbing, and you're sitting around on Instagram. That's unacceptable.
Facts. I think it's a level of hunger,
Yeah.
you know, it's a level of comfort that niggas, you know what I mean? I think, and also I think it come down to niggas just think they entitled to positions. But it's like, well, you know, they gotta hire me. I'm black. You know, I'm black. I'm a black brother in tech. You know, blah 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 blah. It's like, so for what? You know, I meet a lot of brothers that's in tech
Mhm.
just like that. You know, they really don't have. You know, it's good. You know, they got in a position, but then like what's behind that? Like, there's no real in-depth knowledge on the technologies that they're working on, and there's really no drive to get better at it. You know.
Mhm.
And for me, I look at every day just like a learning opportunity. For me, is every day is for me to get better, you know, at my particular role, for me to get better at obtaining another certification.
Mhm.
Right now, I'm on the Palo Alto track.
Yeah.
They get their certifications,
Yep.
you know, um, and it mostly it pertains to my role. Not only that, their certifications in demand, you know. So I'm not only, you know, preparing myself for betterment and advancement in my current role, but overall, my, you know, that adding that certification to my resume is going to assist in you know, bigger and better positions in the future. You know, and for me, it's like every day there's definitely something I can get better at. Every day there's something I can fortify my foundation in something. And one of the tools that I use, you know, constantly, I'm not sure if you brothers heard of it, but it's GNS3.
Yeah. We talked about that earlier.
Oh, okay. Yeah, man. That's it's worth its weight in gold, man. Like seriously,
Mhm.
because any brother out here really trying to get better in technology, I mean, GNS3, you pretty much have every vendor, anything you want to learn on there.
Yeah.
And you get your hands wet.
Yeah.
Hello.
Let me move on to this next article. This one is from crn.com. The highest IT salaries and lowest in 2020. IT salaries across the board. Robert Half Technology, the staff consulting and recruiting business of Menlo Park, California-based business consulting and recruiting company, Robert Half International, has for over 60 years have been reporting on staffing and compensation trends and provides annual salaries guide that breaks the IT industry down into several key areas. For businesses looking for key IT personnel in areas ranging from security to operations, finding the right people is difficult given a shortage of some of the key people needed to make IT work. A good place to start before making a hiring decision is to look at a potential salary ranges. Robert Half Technology has done so, breaking the IT salaries in several large categories, each with a number of key positions within their own salary ranges at the 25th, 50th, 75th, and 95th percentiles. The company also took into account differences between major metropolitan areas and included a separate section looking at IT salary ranges across Canada. I didn't even know Canadians use technology. So executive leadership, chief information officer, chief technology officer, and chief security officer. So the ranges are for CIOs, 174K to 298K, CTOs, 152K to 266K, and CISOs or CSOs, 155K to 278K, and vice president of IT, 143K to 239K, director of technology, 123K to 205K. So CTOs typically don't have high turnover rates, but CIOs and CISOs or CSOs tend to have high turnover rates. It's like once every 2 years, something like that. It's very common to see that happen because it's such a stressful role to be in, because they bite their nails at night. They probably know that there's some vulnerabilities within the organization that could bring them down, and they don't have the bandwidth to actually remediate those vulnerabilities.
And what you have to also lay on that for CIO, I've placed CIOs before.
Mm-hmm.
Anything ultimately that goes down, you can lay it on this program or you can lay it on this part of the team or whatever, but the buck stops on that guy's head. Shit goes down, especially in financial companies where millions or billions of dollars can be lost. That is your ass.
Yeah.
You're done. Okay. You're going down.
They tend to either be bald or going bald at some point, man, when they get in that role, man. It's not an easy role to be in.
Even if it's a 0-day attack that came out of left field that no one was prepared for, if there's a detrimental effect of that attack on your business, or you losing millions of dollars, that's your ass.
That is your ass. And I've heard in certain countries in Asia, I'm not going to mention who they are because I don't want anyone to say anything. Shit like that goes down and you get torn out the frame terribly. Some are even in danger of getting torn out the frame permanently.
Really?
Yeah, look at the
permanently.
Yeah, look at the woman from Equifax, the CISO there. Her bachelor's degree was in music or something like that.
Yeah, she had no business being in that position.
And she was in IT?
Yeah, that's not uncommon. Some people are just really good at other things. When I used to work for a different financial organization, the largest in the country, the principal engineer had a background in music from Berkeley, but he was really sharp with computers, man, beyond anything I've ever seen before to this very day. And
honestly, though,
it makes a lot of sense with respect to music and programming.
Algorithms.
In digital, it makes a lot of sense. But you have to understand, they do raise people to their highest levels of incompetence, and that's what you got to look out for. Anyway, go ahead, man. Go ahead.
Well, no, I hate to be, as labeled, misogynist and whatnot, but it's sometimes women get in these roles because they got that shit between their legs. That happens.
Yeah. They want to do that.
They be wholly unqualified for the position.
Yeah, they play that. That gets played, and you get bit by it. You get bit hard by that.
I'll push back a little bit on that. IT is more merit-based, but there's still a bunch of bullshit that goes on. But I do think that this chick was out of her depth in that role. That role
He was at the highest levels of incompetence.
Yeah.
They do play that sexism game in there. They do play it.
Yeah.
They put women in roles that they shouldn't be in at times. That does happen. So
it was merit-based.
It does happen. It does happen. No, I'm saying
in this particular case, it might have been a little bit of merit, but she was out of her depth. Yeah. I think that she got there on her merit, but I think that she was also out of her depth in that particular role. A security role of that magnitude requires like very, very thought out planning. You have to have like your minutia figured out. You just have to. You cannot make a mistake in that role.
And see, and another key thing too where I see is level of incompetence is when you're in that role too, when you have all this minutia involved, it is imperative that you have the proper people around you to make the best decisions in these situations. You gotta have the right people. And a lot of these people don't know how to put the right people around them. Right. And therefore things go horrifically wrong. And that's a part of you being incompetent in your job. So there's a lot of other key pieces that play into this role that some of these people are just not well suited for. It is what it is. It is what it is.
Yeah, but the only reason I say that because I've seen that occur. You know what I mean? I've seen
it occur many times.
Yeah, and it sometimes that is the case more than likely. I ain't gonna discredit anyone's merit or hard work, but I look at it like this, man. We living in a time where, that happens, man. A lot of females, a lot of black people, they just get hired on because they trying to meet a diversity quota.
That's exactly what they're dealing with. And like I said, there are some competent women for sure in the IT role, but they do play that role of putting people up front that are not capable of, like I'm sorry, Carly Fiorino, they put her at the head of I'm not even going to get involved in the name of the company because I don't want all that, but I'll just say she was an incompetent CEO. She shouldn't have been there.
Wasn't that Hewlett Packard?
Well, I'm not mentioning names, like I told you.
Sorry, I'll mention it. I'm sorry. I'll be the one to mention it. My bad.
I ain't mentioning names. But
I would say that about a man as well. If a man was in that position and he messed up that bad, he's out of his depth. I mean, it gets worse than that. I mean, I tell this story
for sure. But they were people inside. I knew some people in there that were like, "We told you not to bring this woman in here. We knew the deal, and they did it anyway, and they paid for it." Was she competent? No, I think they put her in there because I'm sorry, they put her in there because she's a woman. All right, she should not have been heading that company. Hewlett Packard, think about HP. They took some big hits when she got in there. Big technology company. I'm not gonna say anything else.
That's amazing.
I don't think it's so much.
They almost fell off the map.
I mean, I worked there for 5 years, man, and trust me, I know, man. I worked there with old timers, man, and they basically were saying it's never been like worse, a worse time than working there under her.
Yeah, I knew people who were there. I was working. I knew people who were there. They said, "Do not bring her in." There were many people who said that. They brought her in. It was because of the woman factor. I'm just telling you that.
No, you're right. They were moving in the direction of diversity and inclusion. That's when
that's exactly. I know the deal on that. I know the deal
because they brought what's the sister at Xerox, who started off as an engineer and now she's the CEO of the company. They don't have that problem over there. So neither does AMD with Dr. Lisa Su.
It's only bound to get worse. I mean, look at what's happening in these colleges this day and age.
Dang.
Everything's about that diversity agenda. And
go ahead.
I'm saying coming out of college, you know, they still gonna have this toxic mentality that it's not about what you can produce. It's all about your skin color. It's all about who you fucking. It's all about what's between your legs type shit. Like
No,
for real.
It's not all about, but
Nah,
that is a part that is
I'm
part of the
saying
landscape.
that mentality is what that mentality, you know, diversity mentality basically puts that paramount over.
Right,
your
but the
merit,
market
you
is
know?
actually reacting against that though, and I'll tell you why. So, you know how these articles come out about how women are dating down because their significant others are not like college educated and whatnot. So those are conflationary reports and stuff like that, because what it is their husbands don't go to college, but their significant others actually go to like they either get certified or they go to a trade or something. They go around college.
Right.
So what's happening is, with this diversity thing is instead of men, you know, going into the educational fields and getting ambushed by feminism in college, they just go get certified. That's why certifications are so important. I mean, I think Mike was reading off a bunch of certifications that you absolutely need, like most of the cloud certifications. You're not going to get certified in college. And employers don't care about your college degree if you do not know how to operate in the cloud. They just don't. They won't hire you. So this is what men are doing to react against this diversity and feminism push. They just go around the college. They're like, because a woman, I'll put it this way, in all of my years of being certified, and I've taken hundreds of them, there's probably been 5% women getting certified.
Dang.
So men will go get a certification because it doesn't even require a classroom or anything like that, even though men will group up with other men like online and form their own classroom. You understand what I'm saying? So men have a way of getting around the system and doing it in a way where they don't have to deal with the ancillary politics behind things. So yeah, to your point, yes, there's a lot of feminism going on.
It's liberalism, yes, liberalism.
Yeah, but men have a way of solving that problem. We just go around it.
Question.
Yeah, that's true. There is a bare bones, you know, can you do it? Or can't you? Type of I guess environment when it comes to anything, especially engineering or anything that has to do with technology, right? You can't really diversify your way out of knowing something that you know. You know what I mean? Like it basically
you'll end up losing $8 million like Gillette.
Easy.
I mean billion with the B.
Either you can design this solution I need, you know, deploy it and maintain it, or you can't.
Yeah, let's go to Zone. Let's go to Zone. I'm not Zone.
Go ahead.
Soul, because he has his hand up.
Okay, I'm about to I'm going to college for IT. Like I changed my major.
Oh, so no more military?
Yeah, I'm just gonna go into IT now.
Thought you wanted to go in the Salvation Army, man.
Well, since I've been around you guys so much, you guys been helping me figure this out. So you helped me figure out a better path. So I'm just going down the better path.
What part of what is it? What is the I guess the degree? Is it associates? Is it bachelor's?
Yeah, it's an associates in computer information systems, and it's employment preparation. So they're gonna prepare me for like employment.
Have they talked about internships with you?
Yes, internships. Computer. Let's see. They're gonna give me computer information systems work experience, and they have certs in the field of.
Yeah, but the thing is, internship is going to be very important, and you don't get internships unless you do very well in school. So that's important, because if other people are getting those internships and you're not, or if they don't have an internship program, it's going to be difficult trying to find a job, because you know, you're competing against a very broad market. Unless you have a what do you call it, you know, some good networking,
right?
A good network, you know, support base for you. Me coming out of school, I didn't have an internship. I was already in IT, but even going into IT, I had to take a lot of low-end contracts to get my weight up. You know, so the point that I'm making here is, if you're going to do the associates in information systems, you know, you have to ask yourself, how much is this going to cost me, and is this really what I want to do? Or am I doing this for the money? Because if you're doing it for the money, I can almost guarantee you're not going to make it very far, because you're gonna eat some dog food before you get to the big meal. So
yeah, I'm not really worried about the money. I'm more worried about like just being in the right field, you know, to where I'll be able to have the most potential to be able to have growth, and I won't be stuck like at a certain spot like forever. I'll actually have a chance to grow as I learn more about the company and learn more about the, you know, the tech and stuff. And I think I'll be actually good about it because I actually like tech. Like I got a whole bunch of tech in my bedroom.
You can like tech, but you got a background in art. So if I was advising you, if I was mentoring you, man, I would tell you to look for one of these, art colleges that have, scholarships for minorities. Because one, you're not going to come out of your pocket, and two, those institutes are really connected to big organizations like Adobe, and PTC, and a lot of these other software companies that develop graphics and stuff like that. NVIDIA too, they're also connected with NVIDIA. So you want to be around those sort of markets because you want to kind of leverage that side skill that you got to tech as well. You know,
right?
Like I said, I know a brother from here who helped Echo start their women's line of garments. Man, he went from graffiti to designing women's clothes, and that's why you'll notice the Echo red logo is in graffiti.
Dang, that's so cool.
Yeah, that was those guys back then.
Wow.
I know those guys personally. So now he does, he has he got a Wacom tablet that he can design anything right off of that sucker, man. He's sitting good, man.
Hey, Mike, Josh got his hand up.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Go ahead, Josh.
Hey, sorry about that. No, I just wanted to hop in there, which I was saying earlier. I mean, it seemed like from my experience, working in IT, Black people tend to get kind of complacent in the jobs, and when getting into IT, it's a totally different thing. You have to kind of immerse yourself into the field in order to actually succeed and move up. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not saying not to the point where you don't have a life outside of your job, you know what I'm saying? But you got to kind of constantly got to work towards new certs, and because new technology comes out all the time. New technology comes out, and you got to get certified in this stuff to keep up and actually move up in the field. And so that's all I wanted to say while y'all was y'all can go ahead on, go back to saying what y'all was saying.
Yeah, you're right though.
So
I think even when it comes to that, like, you gotta not have a life for maybe 6 months or so. Like that ass. Like no weekends going out doing what you want to do. Like
shit, that's fine with me.
Yeah.
I'm perfectly fine with that.
Like now I set for my my CCIE a while back. I didn't successfully obtain it, but prior to the time up to that, like, I hunkered down, man. I hunkered down, and like, I put all my efforts towards that. I'm still on that track. I'm still going back for it. But right now, like I said, I'm focused more so on Palo Alto because it is from my current position. But yeah, man, like to what Josh is saying, man, like, even to that point where you might not have a life for a minute, man. It's the same thing with, I look at it like this, man. It's the same thing with, like, a medical field, right? You know what I mean?
Right.
I consider, like, I want to be the best engineer I can possibly, just like a heart doctor would. They have to know that shit. Like, they can't just go in, well, I figure it out later.
No. Usually a CCIE is usually the, they're usually commandos or special, not special forces, Navy SEALs. They're the guys who get called to drop in and handle big things that happen. I know when I used to work at a certain company, that's what they usually pay guys like that, or pay people like that, I should say, to do exactly that. They're just on standby. They're sitting at home, you know, just waiting for that phone call to come in. That when something does happen, they're on the next flight out, then they're getting dropped off.
Right.
Let me read this next part right here. Software and application development. Mobile application developer, 121K to 206K. Application architects, 117K to 97K, 197K. Managers, 110K to 188K. Lead application developers, 107K to 183K. Software engineers, 105K to 178K. I don't work in software development, so I can't really speak to whether or not that's a good base, but you know, it does seem lucrative. You can't really certify in this area, so unless you're talking about like you know, certified Scrum Master, but that doesn't really mean much. I know Nagone 11 places people with these sort of skills in New York all the time, in the tri-state area, so maybe he could speak to that. I'll move on since nobody else is going to speak.
I thought
question.
Nagone was going to jump in there, but as far as like application programming, the company I'm at now is mostly coders, and I used to code, but I got out of that. Yeah, those salaries are very competitive. High-end programmers get close to like 200, depending on what they're programming. Like for instance, I worked for a company that was they created ERP software. Like their competitors are like ADP and all of that.
Yeah.
So I told this story before, but they would not go to a web-based version of their software. Everything was installed locally, you know what I mean? And they had all of these troubleshooting issues with people with different hardware and stuff like that. So they had to hire application developers or programmers in order to, you know, make sure everything worked on all these different platforms. And this is why these people's salaries, you know, balloon up that way, because they have to support all these different things. And this is why they don't really have a cert for it, because it just depends on your mastery of code.
You're hitting that on the head. A lot of guys that I have seen who've had very high level app dev positions who've moved. Some of these guys have actually, in some de facto ways, have operated almost like the architects for the companies and for firms, and linking a lot of stuff up so their code would work right. These are very intelligent, very sharp coders who have a lot of IT knowledge, and they play certain kind of roles there. So you have to understand that they're just not going to just grab some guy and pay him $200,000. It's just a straight app dev guy who is not very, very sharp and wide range of technology and coding, and actually has some not only just development skills, but some administrative skills as well, and knows how a lot of things link up and work together. General strong technology guy. I've seen him play that role, and I've got a role like that right now with the company G-Spec, who I'm actually I've got a top-notch guy right now getting ready to go in. That's exactly the role he's playing, and he is a very strong SQL Oracle developer, but he is this guy knows everything. So he's at a top-notch range right now. I'll say his salary is above 160K, but he's getting ready to get a lot more than that, and he's playing a very much almost like a sys architect role, which is kind of strange. I know some guys will sit here and say, "What the hell are you talking about?" But people who see how some of these guys operate could actually back me up in this. But that's how wide open this game is. It's just, and when it gets to certain levels, it's a free flowing type of thing, and that's why they want really strong technology people. I think Mike can attest to that, because they wanted to put Mike in a role where he thought he wasn't qualified for, but they actually were considering him because they looked at his overall technology skills and background, where they thought he would be effective. Mike could tell you that. That's what's going on. So I understand how this works intimately, and that's kind of what we're looking at. That's what I'm saying. If you've got very strong skill sets on the app dev side, even very strong skill sets on the DBA side of the fence, it's high senior level. That's the kind of roles that they're going to start kind of developing for you. That's where we are in this game. It's live.
Yeah, and that's what I was going to add to
live.
that.
Go ahead.
No, I'm sorry. And just to add to what you said, Nagon, you spot on or whatever. Like I've worked as a developer for just different applications for like contract and stuff. You have to have a good understanding of the back end as well. Meaning those DBAs that manage the data, because a lot of times we talk about big data and you actually develop an application to use the data from the back end. So you have to have an understanding of how
Very
the
good.
data
Excellent.
is how the data is actually stored and how to actually pull that data properly in order to link it to your application that you're building in order for it to work properly. So you have to have a good understanding of both the back end as well as the front end, which could range from multiple programming languages. So I mean, it's all depending on what the company wants this developed in. So I mean, it's a lot of stuff that you have to understand on the application development side. So that's all I want to add. Go ahead.
Yep.
Well,
Excellent points. Excellent points. Right on the money.
okay, I'm only give a little bit of pushback on this, and only because again, like I mentioned when I first came in, when you're black in IT, you have to have like almost all of the skill sets. You just have to, or you just don't move up the way you want to move up. So a lot of the coders that I know, well, actually not even that I know, just like at the company in general, in order to be able to write an application, you have to know how to do database administration. It's almost a requirement if you write code. And this is why people who code make a lot of money, because your application is going to interface with a database in some kind of way, especially if you're manipulating data. So you have to know it. You have to know SQL. You have to know T-SQL. You have to know how to do stored procedures. You have to know how to use the analytics side to make cubes and stuff out of when you transform the data. You have to know all of these languages in order to even do your job. So as far as like the languages go, you can use one language. But you can use like interpretive languages in between. You can do that. But for the most part, you just as a coder, database and just general programming go together. You have to know both, or you can't go anywhere.
Yeah.
Okay, I think we're saying kind of the same things, because you're saying more specifically for black, and you want to move up. Now,
No, this is for any coder. This is for any coder, but specifically for black people, you have to know all of it.
I totally agree with you. I know black CTOs also who are very much like that. I would not disagree with anything you're saying. You're dead on the money, and I would say that we're both kind of saying the same things, because a lot of times if you want to get into those big higher positions, I'm hiring for these kind of jobs, and I see the kind of people who are getting them, and the kind of roles they start to play when they get in there is what I'm saying is to how it becomes a little bit different than let's just say we're just strictly on the job description. So as I say, it's almost like you're playing almost an architect role. It's very interesting. It's just a very interesting thing. There's some who can attest to this or not, but everything you said, I wouldn't disagree with. I wouldn't disagree with any what you're saying, and I wouldn't push back on anything that you have to say in that regard. All right, Mike, go ahead, Mike. Go ahead.
No, I think he's referring to a full stack person. You have to be full stack at that point. Front end.
I agree.
Middle tier, database, back end, front end, UI, UX.
That's right.
Mid tier coding and APIs. Got to know all that, so you got to be full stack now.
Right. And the only reason because of that is like because Visual Studio is a full IDE, and you have access to all of that. There's a bunch of other different IDEs where you have access to all of that. Oh yeah, by the way, you as a coder, if you're working in the Microsoft environment and you're doing any kind of data manipulation, you actually have to know PowerShell, and that's like, I mean, you as a coder, again, this is why their salaries are so high. As I think as Nagon mentioned, this is why they take on like this architect role, because the reason why they take on architect roles is because they have to know so many different skills.
That is exactly it. And I've seen it far too many times, and they've moved other people who they thought may not have had certain skills in other areas, and then they're handling certain other areas. Like I said, Mike can talk about it. Mike had that offer to him, and he felt as though that he wasn't qualified for the role. But I went to elucidate upon him and said, Mike, the reason why they just said, we got to fuck with this dude because we think he could do it, was because of his overall technology background. Okay,
Wow.
which is what he knew. All right, and they knew he could scale to that position. They knew it because they've done it before. So that's why they were
Right.
looking at him like that. So
not understanding what Nagon is talking about. I was offered a role in New York to be a blockchain architect, and so I didn't feel comfortable even taking on a role like that. But they said that they would offer me $250K.
Dang.
No way would I take on a role like that if I didn't feel comfortable. Now I feel a little bit more confident, but the point of the matter here is that at the time I knew that I was not capable of taking on something like that.
You see, Mike, I disagree with you. I disagree with you on that, because I believe that you would have got in there, your butt would have been on heat a little bit. You would have gotten up to speed faster than you would ever believe, and I think you'd have been highly effective, because they wouldn't have tapped you if they didn't think so. That was the bottom line on that. And these guys are not, and those guys at that level are not stupid.
Yeah,
So,
this was for a startup in New York who works on cryptocurrency development. So I can't mention which one it was, but they're a startup in New York, and they were desperately looking for people, and they still can't find a blockchain person to this very day.
I'm dealing with that right now. I've got a senior blockchain position. I've had 6 interviews. They've all been they've all been cut back to that meet. So
good luck with that, because the blockchain people are going independent.
Yeah, they're renegades.
They are. You see, that's the problem.
Yeah.
Okay, you heard what you just said. That's the problem. Now they're talking about possibly looking at maybe grabbing a consultant for a period. But the reason why they don't want to grab a consultant, because they know the guy's probably going to be halfway decent. Then they're going to want to convert the guy. This guy's going to be like, see ya, don't want to be ya, and move out.
Well,
These blockchain guys right now are like fucking rogue. They're like rogue cops running all around the joint. That's kind of what they are. I mean,
they're mercenaries. That's what they are. They're mercenaries.
they're fucking
no,
rogue.
he hit it right on the head.
They're rogue cops, man. I mean, these are rogue cops. We're gonna hire you on. Yeah, I'm gonna work for you guys. I'm gonna do a few things. I'm gonna supposed to handle this, but I'm gonna get ready to do my own thing as well. You know what I'm saying? So as I cover your ass, I'm gonna be covering somebody else's. I'm gonna take you. I might take you down and move on to somebody else just to make those guys join, because they're gonna offer me a little more money for a period. Then we'll be out of there as well. I mean, these dudes are rogue. They don't give a fuck.
Can you blame them though?
I call them Chucks.
Can you blame them?
The web developers, no different than the web developers of Web 1.0. They did the same shit. They did the same shit.
Yeah,
that's true.
That's why you have to build out a blockchain council or committee within your organization, so that the distribution of roles and responsibilities is not delegated to one person. It's delegated across a whole entire department.
This is what
Again, I say good luck with that, because as far like to Nagon's point, like they're mercenaries, because all you have to do is go on to like the cryptocurrency exchange and just look at how many cryptocurrencies there are out there. Also, all you have to do is go into any like the ladders.com and look at any security job and look at what they're looking for. This is why they're mercenaries, because the world is literally at their fingertips.
It really is. And to me, this is my view. They should have a blockchain training program inside of the company and get some of their top people that they already have in there that's been there for a while to have some level of loyalty to them, so to train them and begin to segue them into that position and grow them.
That's the problem, Nagon. That's the problem, that they get the training and then they leave.
Of course they're going to step off. But at the end of the day, you got to see who you can hold in. Of course it's going to happen. It's a wide open field right now. That's why I call these guys Chucks. But they don't give a fuck, and they're moving exactly the way they want, and the money is crazy. I mean, they're throwing bales of cash at these guys. The money is crazy.
That's why they have. Yeah, that's why they have for these roles, man. That's Lambo money, man. I know Lambo. I met in November at a blockchain meetup. This guy was making at least $400,000.
So listen, I'm telling you, I'm looking at a Japanese bank right now. They're talking about me moving up with bonuses and the whole game from there. $750K, 3/4, baby.
What is it, Sumitomo or somebody?
Say what? What's that?
Is this Sumitomo you're talking about?
Say what?
Is this Sumitomo you're talking about?
Oh man, he's
Say
pulling your chain. He's pulling your chain.
say what?
Ooh, no, if you're talking Sumitomo, you're talking big money.
Say what?
If you
So
talking Sumitomo, you're talking big money.
Way. I mean, listen,
Mhm.
3/4, baby,
Mhm.
3/4. That's the kind of bread they're talking. And guys are saying, I might be able to run around and cold gun and even do better. So it's ill out there on this blockchain shit. It's ill. It's exceedingly ill right now. Ill. I'm just saying right now, I don't know. It's just, I don't know how to follow this thing. And I'm recruiting on this, right? I don't know how to follow this thing all the way, because the guys who really qualified, they're way too arrogant, man. They're way too arrogant. They got their guns out. They got their zippers down. They got their flies down as well. They're telling everybody they can take a sip. It's ill. No, I'm you guys are laughing. It's funny.
I'm kind of honestly, man. I'm kind of new to this to the blockchain. Like, exactly what are they fulfilling in these roles? Is it from
man, they're designing the whole entire blockchain stack for an organization, or for their whoever their client is. And so that's why it's such an important thing, because you have to have a very in-depth understanding of all the aspects of what an organization needs to have a fully functional distributed ledger technology, because that's not something you can just roll out and then try to repair it later. No, that stuff has to be designed bulletproof from the get-go. And
right.
There's very few people who can do something like that. And that's why you see such high salaries for this now. I don't doubt if they can't find people by the end of the year, you probably see salaries going to the million.
I'm telling you, they're going
for a certain role.
Yeah,
rolling up high. They're rolling up high.
Yeah, for a blockchain architect, man, or a blockchain scientist, that's probably what they're really looking for as a scientist. Somebody
you're not gonna. You're just not gonna find these guys out here right now like that easy. It's not.
Right. I mean, they're writing blockchain
and they're all
algorithms.
fighting for the same people. Listen, they're all fighting for the same guys. It's all the same guys.
Yeah, let me
Soul Shader has his
anyway,
hand up.
Yeah, let me go to Soul Shader. He has his hand up.
Okay, so what area of IT should I focus on, since I have a strong suit with art? Like, because I could use a graphics tablet. So, like, what area of IT would that be useful in?
It may not necessarily be information technology, because information technology is a certain segment of the business continuity for an organization. So you might be more suited in an area such as pairing your graphic technology skills with something like
video games.
Yeah, like video games.
Yeah, I was going to say video game programming.
Yeah, Android development, Android game development, things like that. So it may not be information technology, but it may just be something like game development. And
I'm sorry.
I'm gonna play devil's advocate on this one. Just a little bit.
Let me just finish my
point. Hold on.
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah, my bad.
And so now you have Google that came out with a low-code, no-code platform that allows you to actually take your graphics and everything else and apply it to the platform with very little code implementation.
Well, Mike, matter of fact, that you can actually make the connection to the whole Stadia platform, right? Yeah. Because there's a certain protocol for the Stadia platform. Matter of fact, it's the same thing goes for Apple Arcade. Yeah. Okay, so there's basically design and coding parameters to make games that are compliant with those platforms. Yep. So you could take it right in that direction. That's exactly what Mike's talking about.
Yeah.
Okay.
So you figure if you develop a site, look at Crispy's Biscuits. No, Tariq Nasheed's game. He put on Android, Google Play, and what do you call at the Apple Store. That thing had 1 million downloads, and it was like $5. It was
like
what?
Yeah.
Wow.
It was like number 4. It was in the top 10 of Google downloads for like 6 months. He caked up off of that.
Dang.
It was a basic side-scrolling game. That's what I'm saying. You got to think outside the box, man.
Okay. So I should go look at it.
Just think about if you self-publish. I think what is it? Apple stores that they take 30% or something like that.
Yeah, you get I think it's like 73 cents on the
70%.
dollar or something like that.
Yeah. And then Google, I don't remember what theirs is, but do the math, dude. Like you do like 3 little, you put out like a little $4 or $5 game. But damn, dude, you get you about 5,000-10,000 downloads on it.
Yeah, no one knew that Angry Birds would have done what it did.
Think about that shit. Angry Birds, bro.
Yeah, that game was so simple.
They
Like
kicked
just
up
the
time
concept.
Yeah.
Not to mention the advertising.
Yeah, in the movie.
All that shit. Yeah, and the movie.
Dang.
And all the shirts and all the merchandise. Yeah, man.
They kicked up off of that, man.
So I would have to go look for a college that teaches you about like game
No, you don't need to
development.
go to a college. You need to sit down and read a book or go through, some of these Udemy, some of these programs on Udemy, man. A $20-$25 program on Udemy might open up something better for you.
Or just go on to go to fucking Google. Somebody dig it up. Let me go in there and dig it up. You can literally go on to Google. Yeah. Go into like cloud.google.com or whatever platform.google, stadia.google. You could probably go there, and then you're going to find a section for developers. And there's your in right there. From at that point, Google's going to tell you everything that they require to develop for the Stadia platform. It's right there.
Okay.
You can get Google certifications to do all this shit. I mean, everything is there, dude. Like, so for the Google platform, it's there. Even for Apple, it's the same shit for Apple, dude. Same thing. I talk to people who, well, fuck it. I already said it. So, developers will contact me about, iOS 13 and, is it running the new Bluetooth 5 protocol and all this? Because I have this app idea, and you know what I mean? It's like you have developers who are going to target specifically for one platform or the other, or they basically target both.
Yeah. One thing that I would just have a little pushback on is whatever you get into, ensure that there's a market demand for it. Run a couple of searches on a couple of job boards or whatever, because this last thing you want to do is get, heavy in a particular area, and there's really no, concrete market demand for it. That's
well, I'll tell you right now, though, gaming is a given, dude. Gaming is a given. All you have to do is just have a dope game. That's it.
Right.
Hey, what's up, man?
What's up, bro?
What up, brother?
And also with the arts, he can go into data. Don't get me wrong, art is data. So you can actually go into data analytics or data science. So actually, I've seen a lot of code on basically a lot of algorithms on art, and I've seen it being written, I've seen it generated. So it's up to you. You can go into gaming, but I'll say this, gaming is a tough industry.
Yeah.
It is.
Yeah. You have to strike it.
It's not an industry you're just gonna go in. You go in, but the hours,
gotta have the right connections.
Time.
Yeah, to an extent, engineering cannabis, I would agree with you if you're talking about Call of Duty level sort of gaming. But if you're talking about, no one knew that Tariq Nasheed would make a game called Crispy's Biscuits, and that thing would be in the top 10 of all downloads on multiple markets.
That's crazy, right? That's crazy.
But I always, at the end of the day, I always say, if you're going into the tech industry, go into it thinking of, at the end of the day, you're going to come out doing something you want to do at the end of the day. Maybe
exactly.
So that's the way I approach tech. I'm going into industry, at the end of the day, I'm not going to do, at the end of the day, I want to do something that I feel like doing. And that's how I approach tech. And that's how I believe everybody should approach tech.
Right.
Then if you have an art background, I know a lot of art backgrounds that have gone into data science. I know a lot of marketing that goes into data science. So it depends on what you want to do. But the gaming is there, but just know, as Mike says, it's competitive at the high end with EA and all that. But if you want to go to mobile gaming, that's fine. But
what about bioinformatics, like Dr. Phoenix is saying? What's that?
There's money in that. My wife is doing that, so there's money in that. Believe me. Oh, there's big money in there.
Yeah, maybe you can talk to Dr. Phoenix more about that. I don't know much in that area, but we need.
In health informatics, my wife is doing health informatics right now. So there's a lot of money in that because it's still, especially in the health industry, it's the application of IT is still growing. And there are a lot of startups, especially focused in the health. And if you can learn blockchain, especially blockchain, you can learn data science and pair with blockchain, man, you can do some damage, especially in the healthcare.
Cannabis, you're doing blockchain right now, right?
Yeah, I do blockchain and data, yeah.
Did you send me your resume?
Yeah, but I only put data science. I didn't put the blockchain yet. But I do blockchain a lot.
If you could redo that and throw the blockchain stuff in there, I'd like to see if I can get a bite on you.
No problem.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know, we may as well look at that. If they bite, you know, and just get you a phone interview from the straight up, you know, this may get exceedingly live down the line. I don't know.
Yes, but no, I'm because you guys were talking about blockchain and how independent these individuals are. It is because at the end of the day, like right now, I run blockchain, and we were talking about the problems associated. So I run failure analysis on even the blockchain to see where the loopholes are. So there's a lot of money in the blockchain. There's a lot of innovation.
Too much. I mean, they're just throwing the money at people, right? They're throwing money.
Sumitomo.
Say what?
But when you see what's going to be made outside, you probably like, can I stay in this company for 2 years and maybe take off and go do something on my own? Because the blockchain is coming up, and they're looking for a lot of people.
These guys, they're not looking for a hire. They want somebody to really come in, tie this down, and build out from there. They really want somebody who's going to stay in there. And the incentive is just, you got so few guys out here, and there's so much money flying around right now.
Yeah, but remember, to learn blockchain is not easy.
No, it isn't. I mean, and they're all shooting at the same guys. Everybody knows where all the jobs. Everybody knows. Oh, they called me already. They did this already. Blah, 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 blah. You know, everybody knows what's up. So it's like a
community. That's why
the community is small, man, and everybody knows what's going on. And everybody's sitting there with a pot of gold, and that's the first thing they sit in front of you, you know, a big fat pot, and this is the deal. So they're going about it the wrong way in my view as well. But anyway, I don't know what to say, but it's frustrating. So
that's the thing. If you learn it, you can see the application. You can see how the application can go beyond just one industry. And when you see it, your startup mentality starts going wild. Like, this application can go beyond anything. And I see
it's
why
the same thing. It's the same thing as Web 1.0, man. I see it exactly the same.
Let me say this. Cannabis, do me a favor. Just hit me up offline. You know, email me. Let's talk. Cause all right. Okay. That's what I want to do. I'll just leave it at that. Okay. Go ahead.
No, but you can see the application, and especially with utilizing Python with blockchain, you can write a quick.
It's huge. That's why I'm telling guys.
And the library with the hashlib, man, you can write. Man, there's a lot. You can do some damage with Python and the blockchain, and it's difficult to learn, but it's worth it because you can see a lot of applications, and so
there's a lot. There's some other new stuff that they've got out here now that they're trying to run with. But anyway, I'm just saying it's a very hot field. This reminds me of back when the web was just really starting to open up, and they were jumping with a lot of these real strong Java programmers, these front end, back end guys, these UI dudes, and just all of this, the way that shit was rolling. Just, you know, if you had that set of skill sets, everybody was
DBAs.
Everybody and their mother was fighting for you, and this is worse. So so it's because there are fewer guys, and it's just it's worse. It's worse. But anyway,
And also, when you learn it, you should also you shouldn't learn it just to learn it. You should learn it to innovate it.
Yeah.
Always trying to make sure you get it better, because you learn it and say, I can write a code fine, but what are you doing to make it better?
That's when you start writing. That's when you start getting patents.
That's right, Mike.
That's when you start. That's when you start looking in more in depth and start looking at, okay, where are the errors, or where can I break into it? That's where you run the risk analysis, where you run failure mode analysis, and then you start talking to people and try to get it better. So that's your mindset in terms of any language or any tech you're going into. Don't learn it just to learn it. Learn it, then learn how to innovate and improve on it.
Yeah, let me move on to these to the rest of this article because I don't want to spend too much time here. I know we
good.
Yeah. All right. Data and database administration category includes 12 different professions and a wide range of some of the hottest technologies around, including positions related to big data, data science, architecting and modeling, AI, and business intelligence. So here are the top 5 positions: big data engineers, 130K to 222K; AI architects, 120K to 189K; data architects, 119K to 193K; database managers, 111K to 186K; and database developers, 101K to 172K. I don't work in big data like that, but I know engineering cannabis. You have a background of data science, maybe you can speak to some of this.
Yeah, they're written. It's right on point, especially with the big database engineer. If you know how to do Hadoop, scikit-learn, all that, man, it's something else. And not only that, you again pre-processing data. The big part is not just writing the models or just generating. Again, pre-processing, cleaning the data, getting the data. That's why I talk to blockchain. That's why I learned it most of the time, because I wanted to find a way to make sure my data was valid. So that's why I learned blockchain, to see if I can use that technology to validate my data. So that's
engineering cannabis. I want to know what kind of background you have in the financial field, dealing not only with large databases but speed of data as well.
I have a diverse background in terms of data. When I say diverse, I've dealt with stuff classified to stuff that, financial stuff to stuff, I've dealt with big data.
In the banking community specifically?
I've dealt with banking, I've dealt with the banking community.
How much?
A lot. In terms of monetary or in terms of percentage-wise, in terms of how?
Both.
Monetary, I've dealt with millions. Millions of dollars.
Is that million Nigerian dollars or millions of US dollars?
Yeah, millions of US dollars. Not
okay.
Millions of dollars in the US. And in terms of transactions, I've seen a lot of data transactions. I've dealt with a lot of mathematical modeling in terms of predictive analysis.
Well, you'd be dealing with billions, a lot of transactions, and you'd be dealing not only with American dollars, yen as well.
I've done the whole process of a banking system and done predictive analysis on the whole banking system. So it's not that let me not rephrase. It's difficult in the pre-processing, but once you get the data right, once you get the wrangling right, you're good.
Let's go to Richard real quick.
Huh?
Richard got his hand up. Let me go to Richard.
Hey, what's going on, y'all?
How you doing?
Yeah, I just came in. I caught the tail end of y'all was talking about game. Yeah, what's going on, guys? What's going on, Complex?
What's up, Rich?
What's going on?
What's good, bro?
Yeah, I definitely want to talk about the gaming aspect. I think a lot of people in the IT industry kind of like taking gaming kind of for granted right now. Traditionally, gaming is hard to get into.
Yeah.
Traditional route, trying to create a game for like the pancake platforms like PlayStation and Xbox. But what most developers need to be concentrating on is the VR and the AR aspect.
Oh yeah, the
That is
virtual
where
reality.
actually it's a lot of money in. But it's in places people are kind of overlooking. Like right now, it's actually the marketing aspect dealing with AR. Like right now, the minimum filter is $1,000 for filters on Snapchat and Instagram. That's the minimum.
Wow.
So right now, AR is right booming right now. VR is the one that's actually still trying to catch up, but there's a lot of money in that too, and a lot of different industries.
Yeah, but what you're talking about is very temporary though, because the AR that's going on right now is novel. When you start getting to the serious, because the money is going to dry up in the novelty soon, and it's going to be within like the next 5 years. As far as AR goes, again, I think it's a novelty. If you want to really get into gaming, there are quite a few game engines, because those are really the driving
like
factor
Construct
into making
too.
games. No, like Unity or
Unity
Unreal.
and Unreal.
Yeah.
I got
So,
Unity on my laptop.
those are really the bread and butter when you're trying to make a game. You don't want to reinvent the wheel and try and create your own engine. I mean, even the Decima engine is based off of I think one of ID's old property or Unreal, I forget. But then this guy Hideo Kojima, who makes all the Metal Gear games, he took even that Decima engine and then made it into something completely different. I think he made like a new Fox engine, like he did when he was with Konami. So you want to start. It's the game engine that's really the crux of that. And since game engines are available, just use one of those. Yeah, you can just use one of the ones that are available. You can create your own assets, but just use a game engine that's out there, and you can do whatever.
Yeah,
you
I know. I was going to get to all that. All right, you have AR, VR. To get into the AR aspect, you want to use Lens Studio, or you want to use Spark AR, or you want to get into the AR aspect. But you want to be specific to them. You tie specific just to those platforms. So it's not going to be, if you create something with Lens Studio, you only can market that on Snapchat. Same thing with Spark AR, you only can market that on Instagram or Facebook. Yeah, it's a lot more money in that space right now, to be honest. Now, VR and AR too, actually, you can use Unity and Unreal. You have the AR kit, and you have AR, I think it's AR Core. Don't quote me on that one. I can't remember the exact name of that. But one is specifically for Apple, and one is for Android.
Yeah.
Now that's more wide open, where you can create the actual apps on a mobile, and you can create these. And using Unity, everybody knows you can create games.
What about
in the VR space?
What about like a game designer or a 3D designer that designs like the 3D figures or whatever for the games?
Yeah, Unity and Unreal is the platform. Unity and Unreal is the main VR AR platform. That's the main. That's them the main two. Them the main two game engines you want to use. Now the thing is, you can tie in third-party platforms into, like, you can import assets from Blender or Maya or Autodesk. I was messing around with Autodesk for a while. You can 3D model. You can create 3D models in them platforms and import the assets where he was just kind of touching on. You can import that into Unity in Unreal. Yeah, now, now, I'm networking with a lot of people in VR right now. Like, this is the beginning. Like, I'm trying to get y'all to understand. This is the beginning right now. You want to get it? I'm finna get in right now. Like, I'm done with the other track I've been on with the data. I'm done with all that. This is finna be big, because the headsets are finna already getting cheaper, and it's gonna get to a point. Everybody's gonna have headsets just like they got phones.
Wow.
Because
cool.
more work. The plan is more work. Everybody, they want more work done. Remote work done completely.
Yeah, let me skate through this article. We got 3 more pages go. But thank you for saying all that. Network and telecommunications. This category actually goes beyond network and telecom to embrace a wide range of networking professions centered around cloud, including cloud architects, managers, engineers, and administrators. Annual salaries at the 50th percentile for employees focusing on network and telecommunications range from $141K to for network cloud architects to $64K for NOC technicians. So network cloud architects, 117K to 196K. Wireless network cloud engineers, 105K to 178K. Network cloud managers, 97K to 169K. Network cloud engineers, 94K to 159K. Telecommunications managers, 83K to 140K. So I think this is right. This is pretty accurate, maybe to like 90% of the salary. Most of the cloud architects that I know are usually directors of operations as well. So they usually have duplicate roles in management and operations. And so wireless network engineers, network cloud engineers, I don't know why these include cloud in that, but wireless network engineers are very much in demand right now because of that transition to 802.11ax. Big rollout for that this year going into 2022. I know our organization is rolling out something like 10,000 access points. And then you have 5G. 5G is going to be really, really huge for a rollout. It's not going to happen overnight. This is something that's going to take place between now, 2020, and 2025. That's how long it's going to take.
Dang.
Because there's so many access points for 5G that need to be rolled out at the last mile that it's not going to be easy. Now, if Comcast gets into the game like I think they're supposed to, you could probably see them get into the 5G rollout as well.
Well, and then
Well,
subcontract
one of
it
the
all
things.
out.
Go ahead, bro.
So I was just gonna say, and subcontract it all out, similar to kind of what they did with, like their cable installers and shit.
Yeah, they're always going to do that because that's just a human resource issue. But but from an infrastructure rollout, that's definitely key. But go ahead, brother.
Well, no, I was just saying one of the things that's going to kind of slow down, at least in my opinion, slow down the 5G rollout is the safety of the technology. Right? Because most people don't realize that 5G is based off of weaponry technology.
Right.
The bands that it operates at is the 60 gigahertz range. And that range is the same range that's used in crowd control technology. It does damage to your cells. It actually deoxygenate your cells. Also, it affects your skin ducts. This is not technology that's only has a industrial application. It's also a weapon, and most people don't realize this, man. It is not. It's extremely detrimental to bio anything that's living, bro. Like straight up. If you look at it, it is a dangerous technology, and it should not be just rolled out everywhere because it definitely has detrimental effects on human health.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. The primary network is the primary band is actually 60 gigahertz, but the low band is actually 600 megahertz. And so that's where you're going to see the rollout for that, right? That's the long-term rollout, is that 600 megahertz access points only work up to 500 feet each.
But the thing is, bro, if you look at the cone that's being used in majority of these antennas, it's the same cone. And that's where you determine whether or not it's a weapon, right? It's the exact same cone that they use, which is basically the emitter in the antenna. It's the exact same one they use in the weapon system. Why are they using the same part? That for real, like it is a weapon system. It's the exact same technology, bro. I'm in the wireless field, bro. Like I've been doing wireless for a while. You know,
yeah, but there's no other choice at this point.
Yeah, same here. The standardization is why.
The thing is, man, it's the higher levels at which the frequency operates. That's what is and also the pulse rate of the frequency is what's detrimental to cells.
Right, standardization.
Go ahead.
Yeah, that's all standardization. The reason why it's shaped like that is standardization. I used to work for a company called TelcoNet. We basically put Wi-Fi in hotels all over the world.
Yep.
This is I literally like study radio theory. The reason why all of these things are manufactured and produced the way that they are is for standardization. In order for those frequencies to even pulse out, you know, at that frequency is, you know, shape matters and stuff like that. So yeah, I mean, yeah, it might look like a weapon, and it was likely based on weapons technology, but it is a standard. That's why the weapon was created that way, so it can work. It has to be able to work.
But there's a huge difference between the wireless technology that's out now and what they're proposing, bro. It's a higher frequency rate, and that's why that's why the antenna, you have to put more antenna out, because
you're talking about 5G.
Yeah, I'm talking about 5G. I'm talking about 5G and the fact that it's different than any other wireless technology that's out there.
To simplify this,
there's two bands to 5G though. Just understand that. Like, go ahead, Mike.
No, I was echoing what you're saying, because that's what I was referring to, is the low band is what they're trying to roll out. So the towers for 5G are already up. They've been up for quite some time, but they just haven't been activated. But the low band is where they're having trouble, because they have to get, you know, approval in certain areas to actually have these sort of antennas up, you know, these access points up in some of these neighborhoods and whatnot. And that's where the trouble is starting to come in at. So the technology has already been developed and rolled out in China and in other parts of Asia. I think Kazakhstan or something like that has 5G already rolled out.
Yeah, because again, to simplify, you can simplify all of this stuff. So, you know, like sound waves, if you get a high enough frequency, you can actually direct it at something and destroy it. It's the same type of technology they're working on to kill cancer cells and stuff like that. They just really, really high frequencies and microburst them at cells. It works the same way though in the macro. So if you have a high enough frequency and you direct it at something, and you're gonna have to use directional antennas to get this technology to really like spread across like a nation or whatever country you want to put it in. And it's just noise. When all of this stuff is just noise, even on the wire, it's just noise. It's one machine yelling at another machine. So when you're talking about like adding more and more to 5G, all this really is you're just adding more freeways to a highway or more tunnels so one computer can scream at the other computer. That's pretty much all it is. So when you talk about like the weapons grade part of it, you're just talking about the frequency being so high that it can actually destroy stuff. Like you can change.
I was going to say, there's what's called mil spec, and then there's what's called commercial grade.
Right. Yeah, but 5G is entering the mil spec range, which is probably what he's alluding to as far as like with the danger of it.
Yeah, but you're not going to find mil spec application in the commercial venue.
Right. You're right.
It's the technology itself, bro. It's the technology.
Dude. Every form of technology, right? That's first of all, it is weaponized. It goes through DARPA first. DARPA vets it, then it goes down to the military, and then after the military moves on to the next venue of technology, guess what happened? It comes down to the consumer level. That's how this works.
What I'm getting to is, bro, it is different. It's a whole new innovation, right? And it's a different wavelength that affects the human body different than anything that's out there right now. It is actually a weaponized technology.
It's not any different than any other. Like it's not different. 5G has been around for like 30 years.
Yeah, dude. China's already tested. They started testing last year.
Yeah, but not in the current deployment, bro. Not in the deployment where they have antennas. Because real 5G is going to take like, you know, thousands of antennas everywhere in every neighborhoods. Like that has not been implemented yet.
What are you talking about?
It's going to take a while to fully roll it.
Yeah, you got to simplify this stuff. It's just a bandwidth increase. That's all it is.
That's all it is.
The thing is,
I mean, we have it in New York. We have it in the city. New York City's got 5G, but when you look at the outlying, metro area, nobody else has got it. Man, you still got some guys short on 4G, bro. Yeah. Shit is whack, but it's true.
Well,
believe it or not.
Yeah, all I'm saying is, bro, do some research behind it, man. Like real talk, it is not good for the human body, man. I've done some in-depth.
A lot of people are saying that because of its high frequency range, and then when you start getting the high frequency, you also start getting in the micro. It almost gets in the microwaves, so you start looking at a certain degree of
That's what it is. It's a microwave antenna.
It's a microwave antenna. You starts producing a certain amount of radiation. So yeah. And scientifically speaking, yes, this is the fact. It's at a higher level of amplified sound, like light. That's what you're dealing with. Now, is it healthy and not? Would I think there might be some health issues behind it? I think that's absolutely entirely possible. At what levels we don't know, but we have to see. There's
an article in Scientific America, and they state.
Yeah, I like Scientific American. In fact,
they state that we have no reason to think 5G is safe.
Well, what I'm asking you is
zero.
Yeah, but what I'm asking you is what is the alternative?
Well, the thing is, man, there's other technologies out there. I mean, just like 5G, right? There's other technologies, there's other wireless technologies that we can deploy that does not, interfere with any type of cell processing in your body.
I'm gonna go through I want to hear it.
This is no different than the electrical grid.
There should be a, study done on human health prior to this full out roll implementation. Because I think, having that caution with any technology, right? Whether it be like in the food industry, they talk about, doing genetic modified organisms. They just introduce this stuff into the market without any, health effect studies,
No, well, they've been irradiating. They've been irradiating food that comes in. So let's just say, like, you get grapes or apples or something that's imported from Argentina for U.S. markets. They hit that with a radiation beam to basically nuke any incoming pests or anything like that. So this stuff has already been being applied to produce that's imported from other countries. But I did want to read a comment that Dr. Phoenix left, and I think it's actually very pertinent to the conversation. He said, hate to reveal this, black men. All wireless technology has detrimental effects on your health.
Yeah, I mean, hey, listen. Do you guys remember Beatrice? The Beatrice, former Beatrice, TLC Beatrice, the brother who would Lewis. He ended up dying. He died of brain cancer, and Reginald Lewis. He had his cell phone. He said what killed him was his cell phone. He said he had his cell phone to his ear all the time, and after a period of time, he developed brain cancer, and he died. But all those microwaves and so forth that he had close to his head jacked him up.
So would you say a viable market within this space would be maybe exploring shielding technology?
I would think shielding technology would be safe, but I think a real option would be if you find something that would be much less toxic or dangerous. We haven't really come across that as of right now, because I mean, if that means you got to get into a certain type of lead shielded suit before you sit down and get on your phone, how practical is that really going to be? Or you got to put some type of helmet on before you put on your phone. Maybe you could sell that, but that's going to be somewhat problematic. So
we're overcomplicating this. This is no different. We already have examples with the electrical grid. Like what we're talking about with the danger of 5G is no different. I mean, drive through Nevada and you're going to see a field of electricity so strong it just basically turns birds into pink mist. Mm-hmm. Like, I mean, but when you use electricity practically, you don't use such high frequencies. Those high frequencies.
Yeah, you saying use that lower frequency.
The thing is, man,
you're just saying you don't need 5G. Is essentially what you're saying.
It's a different technology.
No, you use the highest frequencies where you want to constantly.
When you get to a point when they've deployed it, right, where you have thousands of antennas everywhere, you can't escape it. You are bathing in a constant stream of these higher frequencies day in, day out, 24/7.
Right, but a residential antenna is not going to push as high as a antenna somewhere at a data center. Is what I'm saying. They're not going to push that.
Hey, go ahead, Dr. Phoenix.
No,
what's going on?
that's the technology though. The technology, the 5G technology operates within that range. So whether or not okay, they are going to be pushing that particular up into the higher frequency range, but it's still the very technology. You know what I mean? Like it's based off of weaponry technology, bro.
It is. I mean, the EM pulses and this kind of stuff that can come off or something like that. We have weaponized it. We are using that right now with our military. EM blast.
Exact same technology, bro. It's no different.
Well, Dr. Phoenix,
we're using that shit right now. So
look,
I don't know how to make it safe. Go ahead. What are you saying?
I was just saying, Dr. Phoenix has joined us.
Oh, Dr. Phoenix.
We're talking. We're talking about somebody that's currently in the medical venue, as well as military experience. So welcome, brother.
But of course, with imaging technology and everything else like that, we know what's going on. So is it dangerous? What Dr. Phoenix said, I would say this straight out.
Well,
there is some dangers to it.
Well, the brother Johnny Blaze, that's his field, imaging, medical physics. That's his field. So I'm sure he can speak very clearly, very succinctly on really the dangers of that. However, what I do want to point out is that I think we're kind of singling out 5G when you don't even realize your cell phones themselves are inherently dangerous to you.
They are. We know it.
Your cell phone, the radios of your cell phone constantly bounce around from antenna to antenna. And if you don't believe it, when you get a phone call on your cell phone, that's the point. The point you pick up that phone is the point at which your cell phone is using the most amount of energy.
Dr. Phoenix.
When your phone is searching for a viable signal, that's when your phone uses the most energy. But more importantly, because you guys were talking about radar and stuff, microwaves came from radar. They used to be called radar. I forgot the original name. It was called radar something. But basically, how they figured it out was sailors, naval sailors were actually near radars on the ships, and they had chocolate in their pockets, and they realized that the microwave heated up the microwave energy heated up the chocolate in their pockets. That's how they came up with the idea for microwaves.
But they also found out. They also found out. I also want to say they also found out in developing laser technologies as well. They saw that they saw that when they were amplifying light and so forth. They saw that back then. And this is nothing new. This is old. They saw this shit back. They saw the shit back years ago. But I want to say this. My own doctor told me. My doctor said, do not carry your cell phone in your back pocket.
I never carry my cell phone in my pocket. I have never
carry your pockets. He says, you're getting higher levels, listen, colon and prostate cancer from that. When I heard that shit, I said, I'll carry my phone, in a whole separate case. I'll carry it in my carrying bag.
Anyone that knows me, Nagone, knows that I have one of these little pop sockets I keep on the back of my phone, and I always have my phone in my hand. I never keep my phone close to my body. I use a Bluetooth headset. Why? Because and brothers can go look this up for themselves. There are plenty of studies that show most men put their phones either in their back pocket or their side pocket. So what happens is that if it's near your side pocket, or your back pocket for that matter, what do you think is heating up?
It's hitting you in your ass and it's cooking your balls. And that's
exactly.
And what's different though? Guys are laughing. That's exactly what it's doing.
No, it's for real.
And what's different with 5G though? What's different with 5G though is that 2G and 4G.
The point is that
they're using microwaves. 5G is the first application.
They're all based on microwave energy. That's what I'm trying to tell you.
No. 5G is based off of millimeter waves. It's an entirely different wave spectrum.
The health risk is the same across the board. Whether you're looking at 5G, you're looking at the energy given off from your cell phone, you're looking at the energy given off from power line. The health risks are the same.
But it heightens the faster the waves.
Please listen to what I'm telling you.
That's what I'm getting to, bro.
Listen to what I'm telling you. Listen to what I'm telling you. You can look this up for yourself. Plenty of studies have been done on this. In fact, some of the original studies were actually done by Motorola, which, if anyone's familiar with the industry, knows that Motorola has some of the original patents on microwave radio technology. But again, if you look at some of the studies out there, many studies out there have shown that, for one, men put their phones in their pockets, in their back pockets, side pockets, whatever, front pockets, whatever you want to call it. And again, what happens is that, to what Nagone said, is that yes, it's heating up your testicles, but more specifically, it's heating up your sperm. And
Yeah,
then
yeah.
what it does is
That,
it
I know.
the
Oh, I
sperm,
don't
that's where sperm
disagree. We're
come
not
from.
disagreeing whatsoever, bro. I totally agree. Like
no,
seriously,
but
that
I think you're trying to single out 5. What I'm saying is that you're singling out 5G and you're missing the whole point, which is that wireless technology in general is inherently not good. It is inherently can cause cancer. That's what I'm saying.
Certainly, yeah, I don't disagree with that.
Yeah.
But the only thing that I'm saying is 5G is a new technology as opposed to the other technology that operated
Brother, are you gonna
on the
stop crying?
microwave. When you talk about introducing millimeter waves, millimeter waves are a new technology that's being rolled out that has not been.
I'll give you an example of something that I used about a year ago before I started medicine. About a year ago, I was working with a wound care doc. He does hyperbaric medicine. I've talked about this a couple times before. But also, one of the things we use ultrasound technology. Because somebody mentioned earlier about using sound waves to treat cancer, which is very true. There's a lot of R&D behind that going on right now. But also too, we use it in wound care to treat folks with diabetic wounds, venous insufficiency, venous ulcers, because it helps to facilitate healing, and it also helps to facilitate it also helps to kill bacteria. But the reason I bring that up is because, again, I think the problem that we're missing here as Black men, because I think we kind of get in the weeds with these conversations a lot, and we're missing the whole point is that you're not going to stop the rollout of this technology. Brothers can have their qualms about it, they can have their concerns about it, which are certainly viable. However, you're not going to stop the rollout of technology. One of the things that brothers can do is, one, start vetting the people you hear this stuff from, because I think the problem is that 5G is not really the problem here. 5G has never been the problem.
There are certain municipalities around the world, like in Houston right now. There's a huge fight to prevent 5G from being rolled out in Houston because of the safety implications. And the same thing in California. There's several municipalities in the San Francisco area that have basically stopped their 5G rollout because of the same issue. A lot of people become aware of this.
But funny how now we don't see those fights happening anymore to stop the rollout of nuclear technology. And we all seen what happened in Fukushima a few years back. Here's the problem. What you're missing and what gets overlooked in this conversation is that we're focusing on really sort of one of the minor aspects of sort of the dangers of technology. Again, there are studies that go back 30, 40 years that have already demonstrated that women who put their phones in their bras, more often than not, develop breast cancer tumors in the area where their phone was in.
The only pushback that I have on that is we can't equate microwave technology that's been around for years, to millimeter wave technology. It's entirely different. It's entirely different.
No, actually we can. We can, because that technology's been around for years.
The thing is, man, you can compare it to it's in the wireless world, right?
To millimeter, I mean, you're only talking about a different length of the wave.
You're talking about different wavelengths.
Yeah,
that's
all you're talking about. But that's key. That is key, though. That is key because the frequency is higher. It affects your body in a.
So where do you think that?
But Dr. Finks, I think I understand.
But the thing is, just like
I understand where you come from.
The technologies with ultrasound is at a lower frequency, so they have different applications.
You're missing the point, brother.
You got the waves have different applications, right? And the higher you go, but you know, the different applications are going to be applied with those wavelengths. So that's, you can't dispute that. And that,
Okay,
and
but,
that
but the bottom line,
wavelength,
are both
Go
of
ahead.
them injurious? Are you saying that the lower wavelength is not injurious as the higher wavelength or the shorter wavelength?
Exactly.
Is that what you're saying? Dr. Phoenix, what do you have to say to that?
That's bullshit.
Wrong.
I look, I ain't gotta tell you this at all. Just there are plenty of studies on this. Like I just said, there are studies going back 30, 40 years. Some of the original studies were done by Motorola and the telecoms companies, but they just suppressed it.
Yeah, so
I agree.
I think we're agreeing, bro. We are totally agreement.
But you're missing the point. You're not understanding, brother, that the fact is that 5G technology is an advancement of 4G. And before 4G, you had 3G. So what I'm saying is that it's very difficult to sit here and separate it's very difficult to separate 5G from all this other wireless technology without saying that the basis, the development for this came from subsequent wireless technologies. They had to study these other technologies to get to 5G. So they all are in the same family. I think we just sit here point out this stuff because again, this is what exists in this internet space, is that you get a lot of folks going around just singling out 5G, because this is not the first time I've heard this on the internet.
We're literally just talking about different spectrums. We're talking about different spectrums of the frequency band. There's nothing different. There's nothing different about the technology. We're literally just talking about a different frequency band. In China, they're already testing 6G. They started testing 6G last year. March of last year, they already started testing 6G. So it would point to what Dr. Phoenix is saying, that look, the rollout of 5G is a
You're Borging heavy, bro.
It's basically just a bandwidth upgrade. That's all it is.
Yeah.
What the thing is, there's a difference. There's a difference in the current technology that's deployed. All that is a microwave. This is the first time that millimeter waves will be implemented at a widespread level. That's the difference. That is a key difference. That is a key difference.
Brother,
There's key differences in all technologies that get introduced.
Yeah,
but the thing is, there is an application, a weaponry application that this technology is based from.
Think about like the processor you use in your laptops.
It is the exact same technologies for military weapons grade, crowd control, and lethal military wireless technology. It's the same thing. It's not meant to be.
So what is your concern? Is your concern the control or just the danger in general? Because every application is dangerous. I mean, we go look at like the chip. We can look at chips and laptops and how in computers in general and see how the processes went from like giant transistors to smaller transistors that produce even more and more heat. You know what I mean? So I mean, even the chips in your laptop is dangerous.
My concern is the widespread use of millimeter wave technology in personal.
So your concern is control, then. That's what you're concerned about, the control.
Well, the thing is, I think there should be some type of ramp up period where this technology is vetted to not be detrimental to human health. And I look at it like this because it's going to be a different rollout, right? You're going to have to have these antennas everywhere to a point where it's in your house constantly. It's going to be at your work constantly, 24/7. And if this technology is not helpful, if this technology is harmful to human biology, we need to ensure that it's vetted first. That's all I'm getting to.
Coal is harmful to humans. Yeah, I mean, nuclear is harmful to humans.
But it's most people not living next to nuclear plants, bro. That's all.
Right, because it's controlled. So you're worried about the control.
Yeah, this technology, because of the way it's functioned and because of the waves.
Well, what I'm trying to tell you is the control is what is being worked on right now. The control is basically when you put these antennas up, each of these antennas have specified frequencies that they operate on.
Yeah.
It's not going to be like 100% saturation of full blown high frequency waves. That's not going to happen.
That's
It
the
doesn't
only
work
way
like that.
to deploy it. That's the only way to
Hey,
deploy it.
fellas, can I interject? Can I interject 1 second? I know we're getting all into this, and I know people want to, get into some of this hype on 5G. But if you've got a microwave in your house and you're cooking your food, you do know what's going on up in that piece as well, don't you?
Yeah, and that's exactly the point.
Okay. I just want to bring this thing back to earth.
Yeah,
but check it out though. How does that compare to you being surrounded, in wavelengths that are not good for your health 24/7?
Are you on your phone right now? Are you on your phone right now?
It's not based on wavelength. It's based on power. The power is limited already by FCC standards.
Exactly.
Right.
That was what I.
That's right,
that
Tom.
was what I said earlier
God.
about the power draw on your phone. When you pick up your phone, when your phone is searching for a signal, that is what makes it dangerous. Is how much power is the phone is the phone pulling, or the device or whatever is pulling at the time. That's what makes it dangerous.
It's the wavelength, man. That's what affects this.
Oh my God, brother!
The wavelength's already been deployed already.
Excuse me.
No, this is the first application of millimeter wavelengths. There's never been.
Hey,
any
mine needs to move on. Can we move on?
Brother,
Yeah, go ahead.
Brother, I need to finish these articles, and I need to finish this article, and then we can have open discussion after that. So let me just finish this real quick. Security is the career where professionals with the right skills across 6 different possible positions, ranging from administrators to engineers to information security managers, can most likely command the highest average salaries in all of IT. At the 50th percentile, annual salaries range from $143K for information system security managers to $113K to network security administrators. All right, so information security managers, 119K to 205K. Security architects, 116K to 181K. Data security analysts, 108K to 183K. Network security engineers, 101K to 168K. System security engineers, 96K to 162K. And network security administrators, 94K to 160K. My only qualm about this is that network security administrators are very dying sort of title and responsibility. Either your security analyst or your security engineer, but administrators are not really all that needed. Usually most of the security functionality from an administrative standpoint is done by network security engineers, or not necessarily network security administrators, network engineers or network administrators, but security administrators are very far few in between. It's a dying sort of market for that responsibility. But everything else is pretty much on point. Anybody else have anything you want to say about that?
No, I think I think the dollars and stuff are pretty much right on the money.
Yeah.
It's kind of laying the game out as to how it is, as to really realistically what's going on. Did you get any of these numbers from like Indeed or something like that, or did this come from another source?
No, this is from CRN. This is from Robert Half.
Robert Half, okay. Yeah, they're pretty good as well.
Yeah.
Hey, I'd like to ask a question surrounding that.
Go right ahead, brother.
Okay, so what I wanted to ask that earlier. I didn't want to be too long-winded. So what's a good roadmap as far, because I mean, as technology is being implemented, and other technology, of course, is becoming obsolete. And that's going to determine, what sort of training, what sort of education you're going to be seeking. So what's a good roadmap to get a feel of technology in general? Which ones have more promising futures, and which ones are becoming more obsolete?
If you go through our archives, we talked about fourth industrialization. Anything remotely connected to fourth industrialization from an emerging technology standpoint will be the dominant force between 2020 and 2030.
Got it.
And we covered an article from McKinsey a couple months ago that talked about Black men needing to upskill because of their lack of mobility in this sort of emerging market. And Black men are going to be left behind if they don't actually upskill. So they're going to be the ones most affected by this. Ironically enough, Black women would be least affected by this because they major in healthcare. Even at the medical assistant level, they won't be affected because of the demand for minorities in healthcare. Right, Black men are not really in that area. So you got to have two skill sets, man. You got to have hard skills and soft skills, and I think that Black men are lacking in these areas. And that's why we do these tech talks every weekend, even a couple of times a week, to kind of try to get brothers up on the ball. There's been articles written about brothers who have subscribed to us, who have come out very well just by listening to our live streams. So by following up on some of the stuff that we've talked about. So.
Okay. Now, and then my last question, and you can answer this later when you go to the open chat. It came to mind when you guys were talking about 5G. So it's not an answer I need right now. But my question is this. So because 5G, of course, is going to require more towers because it's more short range, and they're talking about putting towers in inner cities. My question is this. Why would they not instead implement 5G towers that connect to access points and routers, and then place those around these cities, especially like New York, very highly densely packed with a business district? Why wouldn't they just do that instead of having output directly from this mini towers to your cell phone?
That's exactly what they're doing. That's what the low band is for, 600 megahertz. So that's what gets populated in your neighborhoods. But the 60 gigahertz band is what you're going to see on top of the big buildings, World Trade Center and whatnot. That's where those towers sit. They don't necessarily sit, at the Black church, and cooking everybody up in there. I know a lot of people in the ministry like to cook, but it's a different way of cooking people with this technology. So what I'm saying here is that's exactly what the rollout is about, and that's why they were talking about the need for wireless technicians.
Right.
If you CCNA wireless and things like that, there's a lot of companies trying to get into this market, but Huawei had their death grip on the market for so long. U.S. Department of Defense is actually looking at this. The DIA is looking at that and said, no, we can't have these, this company, from China rolling out this sort of market. You think Cisco wants, Huawei eating up their market share? Hell no, they want them out there. So it's been a concerted effort to slow down 5G rollout here, but China is already talking about 6G. They're not even talking about 5G anymore. That's yesterday. Today they're talking about 6G. So even if the U.S. wants to stymie Huawei and ZTE's rollout of 5G in the U.S., China says, so what? We'll just go to 6G and leave you guys behind.
Yeah, I read about that. Okay. Yeah. Well, good to go, man. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem, brother. Yeah. All right. Let me just close this out, man. Technical services and operations. This category includes positions as managers, engineers, analysts, and technicians, help desk support, and operators all across on ensuring a company's IT systems are providing the services a business and its clients require. Salaries were the 50th percentile of employees in technical services and operations, range from 130K for managers down to 40K for PC technicians. Managers 107K to 185K, site reliability engineers 99K to 197K, IT auditors 95K to 162K, business continuity analysts 89K to 152K, and systems engineers 88K to 148K. I see nothing wrong with this. Site reliability engineers are a part of DevOps. So those are the cloud, those are people up in the cloud working on the operations standpoint. IT auditors, I don't know why more brothers don't get into this because it's a very lucrative role, boring, but it's lucrative. And business continuity analysts, those are people who work on business intelligence and DR and stuff like that. Systems engineers are the implement, the ones who implement the technology. So anybody else have anything you want to say in regards to that?
Yeah, I could just add to the IT auditing part. That is a good role or whatever that people can get into. And basically what you're doing is auditing networks, auditing specific applications to make sure they meet standards that are needed as far as security, as far as, you know, keeping up with the patching, all that stuff. So it's a good thing to get into. And don't not do the last Oracle. That's what I've been waiting through the whole 5G conversation for.
Oh yeah. I was gonna actually end it early, but no, you're right about that. I should do the last article. Let me go through it real quick. This is from redhat.com, my Linux SysAdmin survival kit. Every Linux system administrator is different, and we all have our own survival kits and secrets of survival in this job. Let me expand this out. Linux sysadmins are enterprising a lot. We work long hours. We typically see few people during our work days, and we're collectors of tools, techniques, scripts, websites, physical tools, and other goodies that help us in our jobs. This article describes my own personal sysadmin survival kit that consists of all the above plus one that you might not have considered. So, Webmin. Yes, I've mentioned Webmin before, but it's a standard tool that I use to manage Linux systems. I don't use every aspect of it, but it certainly comes in handy for those sysadmins like myself who must manage multiple complex systems by ourselves. Josh, are you familiar with this?
Yes, 100% familiar with Webmin. I actually have a video on how to actually install it, and it's a great tool. It basically creates a website as long as you got Apache installed, and it'll push out all the systems information to that website, and you can just look at it. You can actually manage certain things on the system. And Pulseway, I know you're finna get to that, but it's pretty much the same thing. It's just the proprietary version, pretty much, of Webmin. It has a little bit more information, but go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, that's cool. That's cool that you actually articulated that. Let me jump to man pages then. I'm always shocked at system administrators who don't install man pages. Man pages are the best available online help system. They require no internet access, and they remove the need to search through forums, comments, and other online weirdness to find an answer to an important question. Man pages are an essential item in every sysadmin survival kit. Don't forget them. Josh, can you explain what man pages are to people listening in the chat?
Yeah, man page is not, you know, it's short for manual, and it's pretty much most applications in Linux install their own man page with documentation on how to actually use the application itself, with the options, as well as what the options do when you're building or writing, typing out the actual commands for the program to work properly. So if you don't use a certain command that much, you can always type man, which is the command is man, and then the application, and that'll pull up the manual for that actual application. That way you can refamiliarize yourself with how to use it.
Yeah, thanks for that. Computer toolkit, although I've used everything from the $5 US $5 toolkits you can pick up at flea markets to a professional tool set supplied by local hosting company. My most favorite is the iFixit Pro toolkit. Sure, it's $70, but it's the best and most expensive toolkit that I've ever used. I have that kit myself. I don't use it often because I don't work in the in that part of the field anymore, but I just have it just because it has helped me greatly on repairing Macs in the past, because Macs have such proprietary tools, recommendations that you really can't just get by with a Phillips screwdriver anymore, like you can on PC. So
yeah, I have that same kit as well. It's comes in handy. You can even do phone repair with it.
Yep.
So Amazon, it's right on Amazon, $70.
Yep. Diet Dr. Pepper. Yeah, I know this is weird, but I need what I need. Diet Dr. Pepper used to be drink of choice for a lot of US-based sysadmins during work hours. I used to laugh as I plodded through the cubicle farm at the local branch of a large multinational technology company. Okay, it was HP, and noted how many system administrators had at least one can of Diet Dr. Pepper on their desk. It seems that Diet Dr. Pepper has been usurped by the upstart LaCroix. For some strange reason, sysadmins seem to love it. I've never been a big fan of Dr. I don't like soda at all, to be quite honest. But I know the other company I was working at, they were really big on Monster. I don't drink it, so I can't really speak to the value of it, whether or not it tastes good.
And that shit is terrible, dude.
Yeah.
Monster is terrible.
Yeah, I know some brothers, man, they like to pour, some vodka in there and call it some kind of hypnotic or whatever it is. But
Man, look, that shit is actually literally killing people. That stuff is no good.
I've only used it to clean off the battery cables, the corrosion on my battery cables in my car. But
Yeah, that
Me
should tell you
too.
something about
Coke.
soda if you can use it to clean corrosion. That should tell you all you need to know about consuming soda.
Yeah, I've never drank Dr. Pepper before, but I don't know. That's not for me, man. I'm a very healthy person, so at least that's what people have told me. So I'll take some oranges and some other fruit and put it inside of one of those containers and pour the water into it, kind of infuse the water with it. So, all right, the internet. I know it seems ridiculous to add the one tool that we all use all day long, every day, but the internet is an essential tool for sysadmins. That goes without saying. Google is your friend. Personal items, believe it or not, our personal items ground us. They give us a connection to our hobbies, our passions, or our favorite things, toys, pictures, stickers, and even a few personal accessories help you to remain sane and connected to the human world when you're hip deep into a priority one incident. Bring a few items from home to make you feel better, but don't go overboard because your coworker will appreciate some restraint on your part. Yeah, I'm a big 1/18 car collector. So I have like GT3 versions of cars like the GT3 RS, Porsche 911, 997, Lambo Gallardo, GT3. I have just about all of those sitting on my desk at work. So I do accessorize my desk, and I do agree it does.
You said that's 1/8. You do 1/18 scale.
Yeah, 1/18 scale.
What maker? Like was it Rebel?
No, I forget it's a European manufacturer. I forget what it is though.
Okay, yeah, no, I think I know what you're talking about. They do like the real butter labels, man.
Yeah, they're authentic all the way down to the gear shifter.
Okay.
Yeah, I pay a lot of money for those things, man. I usually buy them when they're on sale, but full price, you can be spending at least $300, $400 on those. Books, kicking it old school with tree versions of your favorite books can help you maintain the connection with technology that you can actually touch. And like Captain Picard said, there's something about the feel of a book in your hands. Yeah, I have 3 books that I keep handy next to me. I have Unix and Linux System Administrator's Handbook, which is like the Bible that I keep on my desk. What else? I also have an auditor's book, and then I have what's the other one that I have sitting up there? Security architecture. So those are the only things I really keep. Outside of that, I don't really keep anything else. I don't know if maybe Josh might
just to add, I have a big Kindle collection, so I have my Kindle with me as well. So depending on whatever situation, I can go to that book and and search and find whatever information I'm trying to look for. So
yeah, it says a flashlight. Yeah, I use the flashlight on my phone. Allies. This is the surprise when allies, especially those in non-technical roles, can be helpful in your career path and just for navigating the everyday issues with any job. For example, an ally in the accounting department can guide you in making better choices for your 401k investment. Yeah, this goes without saying. Surround yourself, with people that's going to, serve your best interests. So, yeah, that's it, man. I don't know if Josh has any comments he wants to add to that.
Oh no, you good. You covered everything. Thanks.
Yeah, man, I know you like that Linux stuff, but yeah, Josh, make sure you drop your link in the chat so that people can subscribe to you. And then we open up for open chat, and y'all can hammer away on what you were talking about before.
Hey, y'all. Hey, I'm gonna check out. I'm about to get out to the track right now, so I'll be close.
All right, man. Have a good one, bro. Yeah, this is College of the Desert.edu. This is what Soulshader dropped in the chat before he left out.
Oh yeah, I'm here. I'm back. What happened?
Yeah, so this is the associate's degree program that he was referring to. And so most associate degree programs in information systems are pretty much all tailored the same anyways. Starting off with computer literacy, CIS, usually 099 or 0101, usually set up like that. So computer literacy, information and communication technology essentials, computer network fundamentals, introduction to programming using Python. And then you have your electives, routing and switching essentials, system and network administration, information security, intro to cybersecurity, and introduction to system analysis and design. Yeah, this is all pretty much the standard of any sort of community college or any sort of 2-year degree in information systems. The only thing that's probably different is now is probably like ethical hacking. Before there was no ethical hacking. Before you would probably replace that with something else.
Okay.
Me personally, I went to trade school. I went to a vocational school, and I studied computer electronics, and I only did like a 9.5 month program. I can't stress enough. I think brothers are missing out on these vocational schools. You can get your weight up there real quick and have a quick return on investment. Tesla, Elon Musk talked about this a couple of weeks ago. He doesn't look for degrees anymore. He's looking at, whether or not you can actually do what, needs to be done.
Right.
So I would definitely look at vocational schools, because I think vocational schools, especially in computer electronics, CET, computer electronics technician, very much underrated. And it's under $10,000. It's probably around 12 grand now, but, the federal government has allowed people who have a household income below $35,000 or $40,000 to actually enroll in these programs, and they'll take care of the rest of it for you. So grant for $10,000 on the table, or Pell Grants up to like $5 grand, and then the rest is they kind of subsidize it over time. So
right.
I would look at that. But this is decent too. This is typical of any community college.
Okay. What do you think I would be doing like with the what you call it, the work experience within the computer information systems? Or what do you think they'd have me do with the work experience?
This is all IT. They call it information systems because that's the typical name for the business. That's the business name for IT in any organization in the market itself. People don't go to school for computer science to get into IT. That's
right.
You don't really need computer science to be in IT. You can get by with something like this, or you can go to a vocational training program and do it in 9 months. A degree sounds good on paper, but it's not really necessary.
Hey, Mike, I'm gonna drop off.
Yes, sir.
But Nagon, I'm gonna hit you up, man. If you're there, I don't know if he's there, but I'm gonna drop off, Mike. I appreciate you letting me on.
All right,
have a good day.
Yes, sir. Johnny Blaze has his hand up.
Hey, Mike, how's it going, man?
I'm good, bro.
Hey, I just want to chime in back to that whole 5G, and I'm not going to talk from the 5G perspective. I'm just here to answer any kind of questions on electromagnetic radiation, because this is what I teach day in and day out. But I just want to clarify one thing when it comes to these energy levels. But there are basically 7 types of electromagnetic waves. X-rays and gamma rays are the 2 highest. They will ionize biological tissue. What that means, now we're getting into the molecular structure. We're talking about separating electrons out of atoms. That's what X-rays and gamma rays do. microwaves and ultraviolet and like tanning beds, these things, they will burn biological tissue. Okay, that's how those two things actually work. Microwaves can transmit data, but they also transmit heat, what Dr. Phoenix alluded to earlier about the sailors. That's why the chocolate was beginning to burn and all that other good stuff. But I just want to, I'm here if anybody got any, serious questions on that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Thank you for that.
Yeah, no problem.
How much do you know about the application of 5G from a military aspect?
I don't know a lot about 5G, just what I hear here. My personal background, I'm a X-ray tech and I'm an X-ray instructor. So I teach the radiation physics side of the house. So that's my level of expertise there. So I really can't tell you much about the rollout. During my time in the military, besides teaching X-ray, I also did emergency management.
Oh, okay. I got you.
Right.
Well, my whole thing is the fact that this technology is synonymous with the military crowd control systems. It's the exact same technology. It actually affects sweat ducts, because I know sweat ducts they work like a helical antenna, right? And it basically has the capability to absorb electromagnetic frequencies between the ranges of like 75 to 100 gigahertz. And this is where that technology operates at.
I wouldn't doubt. I mean,
at these higher frequencies. So it basically will have the same effect that these military grade weapons will have.
Now, my question comes to, and something I think Mike kind of alluded to it. Where are these towers themselves physically going? I mean, because obviously they're going to be at pretty high altitudes.
No. That's the difference in this technology, right? Because the wavelength is a shorter wavelength, right? The shorter the wavelength, the shorter the distance that it will go. Like the radio wavelengths, yeah. So because of that, it's a requirement that these towers will have to go every 100 to 200 meters in order to deploy this technology. That means that these towers will be deployed everywhere.
Well, that's for 600 megahertz, so it's not for 60 gigahertz. That's for 600 megahertz. So that's why you have to have them in such ubiquity, is because of the range and the power that is out of its output. And so that's where the holdup is, right? So having to roll that out is a massive rollout. It's not the 60 gigahertz tower that's that they're trying to roll out. So to speak, those towers sit right on top of buildings all the time. That's not a big deal.
Well, the thing is, man, you have entire countries like Belgium. Belgium have prevented any 5G from being rolled out in their entire country because of the health harm, the health effects. And it's the same thing with it was a couple of cities in Switzerland that did the same. The entire city of San Francisco, they refused to allow any 5G towers to be implemented in their city because of the health harm.
Yeah, but they allow same-sex marriage. So I don't know. It's a political issue too, because
I think that's so debatable. I really do. I think the reasons behind that are very debatable. But go ahead, Mike, because you were getting into the crux of why that is. But go ahead.
No, because I think it's more political, because in Africa, they're already rolling this stuff out. They don't even have any qualms about that. They're already talking about. I was just over there. They were talking heavily about this. And you can't really talk about fourth industrialization without 5G. There is no other way of bringing on 20 billion devices online without this sort of network. There's no other way about it. I mean, you could say, satellite technology, but that's too expensive to even roll out. It's more expensive than 5G.
Well, I think more importantly, brother, I think it's important to recognize that, again, as I said earlier, what are black men going to do about this? I mean, again, I think just complaining about it is one thing, but actually doing something about it, what can you possibly do to stop the rollout of this technology? What can black men do? Because I think right now what's happening is that you're trying to make a moral argument where truth, in all honesty, not sure if there really is one to be made.
For me, it's just more so about awareness. You know what I mean? Like, most people don't even think
Most
about
people don't
stuff
even
like
know
that.
that the device that you keep on you 24 hours
Yeah,
a day
facts.
will most likely kill you before damn 5G will.
Yep. And what the thing is, man, the 5G rollout will be implemented to a point where it's in your pocket 24/7.
Again, you have very limited 5G rollout in this country.
But no, it is being pushed from a federal level. Like it get to a point where in the city of Houston, the federal government has an oversight of any municipality that's trying to object 5G rollout. The federal government is pushing this out. They have no say in whether or not they get it or not. That is they actually written that into federal law.
That goes to what Mike just said. There's a very specific reason why. You cannot have the fourth industrial complex without 5G. Period.
You have to look at it from both sides, though, bro. Like
I don't need to look at it from
double.
both sides, because black folks, black men, and black folks cannot stop this rollout, no matter how much we have these moral objections to it.
Well, the thing is, it's not just about black men stopping anything. My whole argument is coming from a higher level, from like the detrimental effects on overall human health.
And again,
you have countries, you have entire countries, you have entire cities and whatnot that are blocking the rollout because of that. So
again, you keep a device on you 24/7, and you don't even realize what it does to you.
That's true. That's true.
There's a reason there's a reason why you put on a lead apron when you go get an X-ray. As what Johnny Blaze alluded to, you get ionizing radiation or energy.
But the thing is, what the key point is that this is the first time that millimeter wave technology will be rolled out.
That is not personal. Millimeter wave technology isn't the problem. It is the power draw. Again,
no. Listen, it's the millimeter wave. It's the millimeter wave technology, and also the pulse rate is what causes deleterious effects to human cells. The pulse rate and the wavelength. That is the key. That's what causes the problems with cell growth. That's what causes the cells to be mutated. That's what causes cell oxygen process to cease. It's the frequency, the actual the wavelength, and the pulse rate.
Okay, hold on a second. All right. In order to destroy cells, there's a couple different ways of doing this. When we use radiation, we teach two things. One is called the target theory. You have what's known as indirect and direct effects. Either you're going to kill the nucleus, that's a direct effect, or indirect, you're going to affect things around the nucleus. One of the key things is our cells are made of mostly water. Radiation can convert that water in your body into hydrogen peroxide by rearranging molecules. Now, that's normally done with ionizing radiation. And I'm not sure that can be done with other things. And I don't know if Dr. Phoenix might be able to speak on that a little more than I can. But I understand, it sounds like what you're talking about is how this, when you're messing around with these microwaves, you're literally cooking the human body. And that's what it sounds like, the perspective that you're coming from. Can you care to elaborate on that?
Yeah, so the whole thing that I'm coming from is the fact that this technology is the exact same technology coming from military grade weaponry. This is no difference. That's my whole point.
Okay, I understand that part. Yeah. But I guess what I'm trying to get you to be more specific on is the way is it damaging the body? Like I said, there are two ways. You either ionize or you burn. So I'm trying, like I said, right now, this won't ionize because microwave energy can't do that.
There's multiple ways that it affects the body. It's like, so it causes damage to the mitochondria. It also acts as a mutagen, which basically can change the way your DNA grows, and which can actually affect, your generational gene pool.
Yeah, now we're getting into like somatic effects in cell structure, which I understand that. But
excuse me, can I just butt in real quick, please?
It's also a class 1 carcinogenic. So there's a lot of health effects that come from the applications of 5G that most people are definitely not aware of.
Can I just butt in real quick again? Hello.
Yeah, go ahead.
All right. So again, I want to simplify this once again. The concern he has about human safety, yeah, we get all that, but there have been technology. All of our technology has effects on humans as far as that goes. What you're concerned about is the control. Again, how networks work is when you at the concentration point, just like an electrical grid or anything else, yes, you're gonna have that high power concentration. When it reaches an end user device, there's no feasible way to push those harmful rays to a consumer device without harm. So we're not going to have these frequencies to an end user device. This is an infrastructure. Again, to simplify, it is a bandwidth increase. This is all it is. The infrastructure will be 5G. All of your concerns are basically directed toward the infrastructure itself, which won't be directed at humans. End user devices will have the residual effects of having that 5G infrastructure, but unless there's some way to control damage to a human to an end user device, no, you're not gonna get micromillimeter waves hitting a human being. It's not gonna happen. This is an infrastructure bandwidth upgrade. It is just that simple.
No, that's incorrect, sir. I'm sorry, but that's completely incorrect. The entire Internet of Things that's being pushed is based off of 5G technology.
This is infrastructure.
But the thing is, the technology, the millimeter wave technology will be all over. It will be in your home. It will be used for certain shit. Anywhere you go, like you go to a store, they're gonna be using 5G technology to keep track of whatever they have on the shelves. It's the same thing with cellular technology. 5G will be rolled out from a cellular level to a point where you have these towers everywhere. That's the way that the infrastructure works, right? Like the technology itself requires that there are towers every 100 to 200 meters. How could that not? How could you not interface with that on a day-to-day basis if you have towers everywhere?
For one reason, control. This is simply a matter of control. It's just that it's the same reason why you don't have nuclear power directly going to your house. It's infrastructure. That's all it is. There's no name a device that is capable of literally having a 5G radio in it. Like I mean the literal 5G radio with micro millimeter frequency capability. It requires too much power. The battery itself would just be like the size of a belt. You're not gonna have that. So again, this is an infrastructure upgrade. It's simply for bandwidth.
Bro,
this is all it's for. It's for bandwidth.
It's not about that power output, bro. It comes down to the pulse rate. It comes down to the pulse rate and the wavelength. The millimeter wavelength and the pulse rate. What's that?
You can't get the pulse rate. So to analog this, if you use on a computer, right? So let's just say you have an internet connection that's like 1 gigahertz. If you're running a Pentium 3 that can only go like 760 megahertz, you can't even get the full bandwidth because each cycle of your processor can't push a gigahertz. You understand? Like, so if your processor is slower than your internet, you can't even get the full speed of your internet connection. This is analogous to how this works. You're not gonna get that. You're not gonna get that frequency or pulse rate because they have to match, they have to resonate. You're not gonna get that in a consumer device if the consumer device is not capable of doing it. Again, this is an infrastructure upgrade for bandwidth. That's all it is. Just look into it. I understand the dangers and all of that.
Bro, I looked into it, man. That's not the case, man. That's not
I work on this stuff every single day. Every day I work on this shit. This is an infrastructure upgrade.
Bro, when I tell you, I've dealt with many wireless rollouts, like and from industrial warehouses to office buildings, everywhere. You know what I mean?
But at what level?
This technology was that?
At what level?
From a design, okay, going in, using a wireless analyzer, and going out, finding out, okay, where exactly I need to put my access points, whether or not they have lead in the building, whether or not they have basically designing an entire environment from scratch. You know, determine exactly where will be the best place for APs. Where exactly do I need to, you know, maybe consider a different antenna for, you know, for an AP, as opposed to using an omnidirectional, using a directional antenna. You know, so I'm in this field, bro. And when I tell you it's a different technology and it affects your human cells differently, it's coming from, you know, a background, bro. Like I'm not just speaking the shit out.
Right.
Out
And
of
what
my
you just described was like a wireless survey where you're gonna put Wi-Fi in the building. Again, what I'm describing, I do that as well, and I also do the infrastructure side of it, which is the devices that control this. You again, if you have a 5G concentrator, that is not going to be it's not even going to be in a residential home or commercial building. This is all infrastructure side. The same way a nuclear facility is not in like a commercial district. This is infrastructure.
That's false. That's false, because the thing is, the way that the technology operates requires the antenna to be closer to the end user.
Yeah, but that's the 6 megahertz.
It requires
right. This is to carry the signal. This is all again.
But
bandwidth upgrade.
It's exposure though. That's the thing. If you have 5G antennas right outside your window, you know, and it's one right up the street from you. It's one like, you know, right in your backyard, bro. That's like having a nuclear plant in your backyard. That's what I'm saying. It's a different infrastructure that's required for this technology. We're not talking about towers all up in the air, bro. We talking about a tower right outside your door, right there, beaming that signal in your house.
So not a tower. That's a bit of a misnomer. It's not a tower. It's an antenna.
It's an antenna. It would be like an access point, bro.
It is an access. What it is. It is an access point, but it's
an access point.
Yeah, it's not in your backyard. It's sitting, you know, at street lamp level, and so it only goes 100 millimeters because that's what it's spec to do, so that it's not actually cooking your brain. That's the whole purpose of it. So you have to have. Go ahead.
How is that not increasing exposure though? That's what I'm getting to.
Because it's not that much, because the frequency or the power output of it is very minimal.
No, it's just when I'm trying to get
at that spectrum, it's very low. At 600 megahertz, it's very low.
Is what I'm trying to get you to understand, man.
Yes, sir.
Everybody on this panel, go ahead and do your own research on this. But what I'm trying to get you to understand, the technology for 5G is the exact same technology from military weapons grade crowd control systems.
We've understood that.
Yeah, so I can tell them how
the only thing that I'm saying,
because
bro.
I work with them every day.
Yeah, but we have people from the military on here. Johnny Blaze is from the military as well.
Yeah, I served 8 years in the U.S. Army. Thank you for your service, bro.
Okay. Yeah. So, go ahead.
No, ditto. No, I was just saying. I mean, I work with AT&T every day. I can tell them how this infrastructure is rolling out. Like, it's not. Again, it's not going to be what you think it is with waves just cooking people en masse. Like, how would that even be possible?
Yeah,
you're talking about mass murder. That's not even feasible.
The key thing is that there has been zero safety studies on this technology. None.
Are you sure about that?
Yeah, I'm 100% sure. Look for it. That's what I'm saying, bro. I've done thorough research on this topic, man.
Are we saying that because the studies can't be found?
No. From an industry level and from a governmental level, there has been zero, absolutely none. If you find one, let me know, bro. I would commend you on that. But there has been zero safety studies on this technology and the rollout of it. Absolutely none. And there's absolutely there's no thought behind it, bro.
I'm a member of IEEE, so I'll look through the IEEE white papers and see if they have.
Go right ahead, man. I guarantee you won't find an iota of anything stating that 5G is safe for humans or anything living for that matter.
Mm-hmm. Dr. Phoenix, you were going to say something?
No, I don't really have much to say because I think the issue is getting conflated here. I think two different issues are being conflated. So Again, you know, I agree with what Zero said. I think this is about a control issue, but the problem is, again, what can black men do about it? I mean, because I think the argument here is a moral one. And again, this is just not going to fly in this day and age. I mean, to be very frank. But more importantly, if the concern is about what 5G will do to your body, again, you're completely ignoring every single day you're carrying a device on you that you probably keep in your pocket that is heating up your sperm, that's heating up your testicles, because you do realize your testicles are a couple degrees cooler than the rest of your body for a very specific reason. But also, too, in general, I mean, folks keep a number of technologies in their house that are inherently dangerous. I mean, and they're inherently dangerous, again, related to power draw. Again, I don't even use a microwave. I have an air fryer.
Yeah, I have a convection oven. You have a convection oven.
Yeah, I have a convection stove. I have a couple of portable convection stove tops, if you will. And so if I have to reheat leftovers, I haven't used a microwave in years.
Yeah.
And there's very good reason why, because again, I think the argument gets conflated. We have these narrow arguments that focus on one specific thing, and you don't see how everything around you on any given day is inherently dangerous.
Yeah, I totally agree with that point. The only thing that I would interject in that statement is that, again, this is a new wave of technology that's been deployed, and this is an entirely different spectrum, right? We're dealing with millimeter waves. This is the first time that this will be implemented at a widespread scale, right? So that's the only difference that we're talking here. We're talking about entirely different technology that's being rolled out without any care to safety concerns.
Let me correct you on that, because it's not a new technology. It's actually pretty old. 60 gigahertz microwave processor spectrums were being tested by Tektronix in 2001. I was at those events when they were on display. So I
don't dispute that, but what I'm getting to is there's one thing when you're talking about testing, and then from a industry standard, right, industry perspective, right, there's always going to be a ramp up with technology, right? But now we're talking about deploying this from a consumer standpoint. That's an entirely different realm, right? That's an entirely different realm. There's always going to be a ramp up for technology. From an industry standpoint, yeah, it's old news. But now the application of it is changing. You go into a consumer application, it's definitely going to have a much more impactful effect on a wide range of people, as opposed to someone testing something in the lab.
All right, I think that we kind of reached our end mark. But yeah, thank you all for joining us, man. Please hit the like button if not already done so. Share the video if possible. Hit that notification bell so you get all the updates from the Black Brain Trust, including those posted on the community tab. Document description leaves the video for you to reference. If you're trying to get into IT for the first time, we do offer IT mentorship here. If you're trying to go from one IT role to another, we do offer IT coaching. If you're trying to go, if you're in the New York area and you're looking for IT contracts, the Going 11 does have recs on the table. Any questions about salaries, wages, negotiations, resumes, cover letters, we do offer advice in that area as well. Just leave a comment at the end of the video if you want to get in touch with one of us. One of us will get back in touch with you. Thank you for Zero for coming through, dropping his knowledge. Same thing with Dr. Phoenix, Dula as well, Johnny Blaze, and the rest of the panel who came through earlier.
Hey, thanks for having me, man. Appreciate it.
March of the dedicated
Yeah, ditto. Thanks for having me.
Brooklyn, New York, let's go. Dugger, come on. Cause when the block start clicking, the fiends smoking and sniffing, and the guns get to spitting away. Yeah, stick up kids keep sticking, from new lots to picking. Yeah, Brownsville stand up. Yeah, what it do what? We was doing and dying when them dudes wasn't doing a thing. And Crown Heights, chain hang, East New York, same thing. Bed-Stuy stand up. Cause if you got grams and I got grams, let's put our grams together and lock this grams. If we can't eat together, then you ain't my man. So when you see me in the streets, don't shake my hand. If you got guns and I got guns, let's put our guns together and lock this, son. You don't wanna roll with me, I'ma pop you, son. If you ain't with me, you against me, I don't bite my tongue. I get a gully, bet you like that, Where the weed, nigga, like that up. Hey, yo, I fight the night shift till I knock out mornings. Used to jump crack heads when the block got boring. Come to your hood and make it hot, cause I got mine scorching. I walk around with no ID. I got warrants. The cab driver dropped me off with my mouth yawning. He said the cab was $7, but I hopped out on him. Tried to ask me for his bread, so I wowed out on him. Caught him with a two-piece, left him knocked out snoring. Niggas taking this for granted. We want in. He don't wanna make enemies, he want friends. Put the gun in his mouth, yeah, it's me again. Leave your tongue hanging out like beat up Timbs. What type of situation did you leave us in? If you can't write fire, give me your pen. You come from a hood that we re-up in. BK, that's the borough niggas G'd up in. You better watch how you pull your V up, Slim. Keep the window low enough so I can see your chin. Who the fuck hood you think you trying to creep up in? If the glass low enough to stick the Nina in, I'ma throw the drop on you and your 3-butt mins. If you ain't creeping on me, keep your seat up then. Why you keep acting like you got the brains of a prophet? Plug y'all niggas to rip you lames out the socket. Little nigga, you a faggot who came out the closet. Hold you by your ankles and shake the change out your pockets. Got the heckling and Koch, I ain't even gotta cock it. It's double action. Pop you, I pull it out in a locket. The streets is mine, the buzz is mine. Give it back, Pat Poose, I'm the new era like a fitted cap. Rappers ain't the same when you see them in person. Some of them act tough till you murk them. Son, no, he can't come in my hood, cause I'ma hurt him. I stop son from coming in like curtains. I mastered this, so I spit at you wisely. I'm your master like your original copy. If I die trying, I'ma be rich in the afterlife then. At the crossroads to the riches with lavish items. A lot of rappers selling their souls, I'd rather price them. So pass the scalpel, it's Adam's apple, I have to slice them. You savage trifling and backwards biting, dumb actors fighting. My rap's enticing, so for my borough I sacrifice them. I stab them twice and my dagger dice them, now that's excitement. They flashing sirens, they pass indictments as fast as lightning. Beat you up with my bare hands, you faggots frightened. What did he use to put the beats on them? Is that a Triton? When the block start clicking, the fiends smoking and sniffing, and the guns get to spitting away. Stick up kids keep sticking, from new lots to picking. Brownsville stand up. What it do what? We was doing and dying when them dudes wasn't doing a thing. In Crown Heights, chain hang, East New York, same thing. Bed-Stuy stand